The desert planet Zephyria stretches endlessly before Justin Kennedy, a harsh expanse of sand and rock that betrays no hint of the alien beauty and shocking truth hidden beneath its surface. As the 32-year-old human astronaut and xenobiologist emerges from his crashed interstellar research vessel, he surveys the desolate landscape with a mixture of dread and determination. The malfunctioning ship behind him, now little more than a twisted husk of metal, offers no hope of escape or communication with Earth. Justin activates his suit's environmental systems, shielding himself from the planet's scorching heat and abrasive winds. He begins his exploration, each step sinking slightly into the loose sand. His eyes scan the horizon, searching for any sign of life or resources that might aid his survival. The vast emptiness of Zephyria seems to mock his efforts, presenting nothing but an endless sea of dunes. As he crests a particularly large dune, something catches his eye. Half buried in the sand, a structure of unmistakably artificial origin protrudes from the ground. Justin's heart races as he approaches the ancient ruins, his mind filled with questions about the civilization that could have built them. He runs his gloved hand along the smooth, alien surface, marveling at its resilience against the ravages of time and elements. Carefully, Justin begins to clear away the sand, revealing more of the structure. His movements, driven by scientific curiosity and the hope of finding a means of survival, become more urgent. Suddenly, his hand catches on something, and a low rumble emanates from beneath his feet. The ground shifts, sand cascading away to reveal a hidden entrance. Justin hesitates for a moment, weighing the risks of entering an unknown alien structure against the certain death that awaits him on the surface. With a deep breath, he steps into the darkness, his suit's lights illuminating a passageway that leads deep underground. The air grows cooler as he descends, and the walls around him pulse with a faint, otherworldly energy. At the bottom of the passage, Justin enters a vast chamber filled with sleek, advanced technology unlike anything he's ever seen. His eyes widen as they fall upon a figure emerging from the shadows, a stunningly beautiful female alien with features both familiar and exotic. She regards him with a mixture of fear and curiosity. "Who are you?" Justin asks, his voice barely above a whisper. The alien responds in a melodious voice that somehow translates in Justin's mind. "I am Xena, the last of the Ithorians. And you, human, are not supposed to be here." Justin's mind reels at the implications. An unknown alien race, advanced technology, and a hidden underground complex. It's a xenobiologist's dream and nightmare rolled into one. As Xena begins to explain her people's history, Justin listens with growing amazement and horror. The Ithorians, once a thriving spacefaring civilization, had retreated underground thousands of years ago to escape a catastrophe that turned their lush world into the desert wasteland above. But the most shocking revelation is yet to come. "Your people," Xena says, her eyes fixed on Justin, "were never meant to reach the stars. We made sure of that." Justin's blood runs cold as he processes her words. The Ithorians had deliberately sabotaged Earth's early space exploration efforts, altering the course of human history to protect their hidden world. The weight of this truth settles on Justin's shoulders, creating an immediate tension between him and the alluring alien before him. As Justin grapples with the implications for humanity's past and future in the galaxy, he realizes that his crash landing on Zephyria has thrust him into a situation with far-reaching consequences. The fate of two civilizations now hangs in the balance, and he must navigate this precarious situation while fighting his growing attraction to Xena. The empty desert planet has revealed its secrets, and Justin Kennedy stands at the crossroads of alien beauty and shocking truth, poised to shape the destiny of both Zephyria and Earth. Justin's mind raced as he processed Xena's revelation. The implications of her words threatened to overwhelm him, but he forced himself to focus on the immediate situation. He needed more information, and cooperation seemed the safest path forward. I I understand, he said, his voice steadier than he felt. What happens now? Xena's luminescent skin pulsed softly as she considered his question. Now, we restore power to our systems. There is much to do if we hope to revive our civilization. Over the next few days, Justin and Xena worked side by side in the vast underground complex. As they rerouted power conduits and reactivated dormant machinery, Justin found himself constantly amazed by the advanced Athorian technology. He carefully observed and memorized as much as he could, knowing that this knowledge could be crucial for Earth's future. During a particularly challenging repair on a central power node, Justin noticed Xena's skin begin to glow with a soft, pinkish hue. The sight captivated him, momentarily distracting him from the task at hand. Is everything all right? Xena asked, noticing his stare. Justin blinked, embarrassed. Yes, sorry. Your skin, it changed color. Xena's lips curved into a slight smile. Yes. We Athorians are bioluminescent. Our skin reflects our emotional state. Fascinating, Justin murmured, forcing himself to refocus on the repair. As they delved deeper into the facility, Justin and Xena's teamwork improved. They developed a rhythm, anticipating each other's needs and movements. Their conversations, once stilted and cautious, began to flow more naturally. On the 5th day of their collaboration, they made a startling discovery. A massive chamber, sealed off from the rest of the complex, housed row upon row of sleek, metallic pods. What are these? Justin asked, running his hand along the smooth surface of the nearest pod. Xena's skin pulsed with a deep blue glow. Stasis pods, she replied, her voice thick with emotion. They contain the last of my people, waiting to be awakened when Zephyria is habitable once more. The weight of this revelation settled heavily on Justin's shoulders. The fate of an entire civilization now hung in the balance, adding new complexity to his already conflicted feelings. As they worked to decipher the ancient Athorian texts that detailed the operation of the terraforming technology, Justin and Xena found themselves spending long hours in close proximity. The air between them seemed to crackle with unspoken tension. One day, while attempting to repair a malfunctioning power coupling in a narrow maintenance tunnel, disaster struck. The ceiling began to crumble, showering them with debris. We need to get out of here, Justin shouted, grabbing Xena's hand and pulling her towards the exit. They scrambled through the collapsing tunnel, hearts pounding. Just as they reached safety, a final tremor knocked them off balance. Justin found himself pressed against Xena, her luminescent skin glowing a brilliant pink. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Then, almost unconsciously, they leaned towards each other. Their lips met in a kiss that was equal parts awkward and electric. The moment was shattered by another ominous rumble from the tunnel. They quickly separated, breathing heavily. We should check the damage, Xena said, her skin now pulsing with a rapid rhythm of pink and blue. Justin nodded, trying to ignore the conflicting emotions surging through him. As they assessed the tunnel collapse, he found his mind wandering to the long-range communication device they had recently reactivated. He could contact Earth, warn them about the Athorians. But as he glanced at Xena, her bioluminescent skin softly glowing in the dim light, he realized he couldn't bring himself to betray her trust. Not yet, at least. Their breakthrough came unexpectedly. While poring over an ancient Athorian database, they discovered the key to activating the terraforming technology. We need a rare mineral, Xena explained, her eyes scanning the holographic display. It's found only in small quantities on Zephyria's surface, at our old mining sites. Justin's pulse quickened. We'll have to go up there, won't we? Xena nodded, her skin taking on a deep blue hue that Justin hadn't seen before. It will be dangerous, but it's our only chance. They spent the next day gathering supplies and equipment, combining resources from Justin's crashed ship and the Athorian complex. As they prepared to venture onto Zephyria's harsh surface, Justin made his decision. He left the long-range communicator inactive, choosing instead to focus on their shared mission. Suited up in their protective gear, Justin and Xena stood at the entrance to the underground complex. The unforgiving landscape of Zephyria stretched before them, a sea of sand and rock under a blazing alien sun. "Ready?" Justin asked, his voice slightly muffled by his helmet. Xena's skin glowed with a mix of blue and a new, silvery color that seemed to reflect her grit. "Ready?" she replied. Together, they stepped out onto the surface, the first of many steps in their quest to transform Zephyria and possibly forge a new future for both their species. The unforgiving Zephyrian sun beat down on Justin and Xena as they trudged across the barren landscape. The protective suits they wore shielded them from the worst of the planet's harsh environment, but Justin could still feel the oppressive heat seeping through. He glanced at Xena, her alien form graceful even in the bulky suit, and marveled at how quickly their uneasy alliance had evolved into something more complex. Their first objective was an ancient Athorian mining site nestled in a deep canyon, hidden from the relentless sandstorms that scoured the planet's surface. As they walked, Justin's mind raced with questions about the rare mineral they sought and the terraforming technology it would power. "Xena," he called out, his voice crackling through the suit's communication system. "How much farther to the canyon?" She turned to him, her luminescent skin pulsing with a soft blue glow visible even through her suit. "We should reach it by nightfall. But stay alert. The desert is treacherous." No sooner had the words left her mouth than Justin's suit emitted a high-pitched whine. He felt a sudden rush of hot, acrid air against his skin as the suit's atmospheric regulator failed. "Justin!" Xena cried out, her skin flashing a vivid yellow in alarm. She rushed to his side as he struggled to breathe the toxic Zephyrian air. Acting quickly, Xena pressed her hands against Justin's suit. Her skin began to glow with an intensity he had never seen before, creating a shimmering field of energy that enveloped him. Justin gasped as fresh, breathable air filled his lungs. "How did you?" he managed to ask between breaths. "Bioluminescent manipulation," Xena explained, her voice strained with effort. "I can create a temporary protective field, but we need to find shelter and repair your suit." They pressed on, Xena maintaining the protective field around Justin as they searched for a safe haven. The incident had shaken Justin, but it also filled him with a newfound appreciation for his alien companion. Her selfless act had likely saved his life, and he felt the last of his lingering distrust melt away. As the twin suns of Zephyria began to set, casting long shadows across the desert, they finally reached the edge of the canyon. The mining site lay below, partially buried under centuries of accumulated sand. "We'll need to clear the entrance," Xena said, her skin slowly returning to its normal soft glow as she released a protective field around Justin. They worked side by side, using tools from their packs to excavate the ancient Athorian structure. The physical labor and shared goal brought them closer, both literally and figuratively. Justin found himself hyper-aware of Xena's proximity, the graceful movements of her alien form captivating him even as they worked. As they cleared the last of the debris, Justin's hand brushed against a hidden panel. A low hum filled the air, and before either of them could react, the ground beneath their feet gave way. They plummeted into darkness, twisting and turning as they fell. Justin braced for impact, but instead of hard stone, they splashed into a pool of glowing liquid. The bioluminescent fluid cushioned their fall, enveloping them in a cool, tingling sensation. As they surfaced, Justin turned to check on Xena and froze. The liquid had reacted with her skin, amplifying her natural bioluminescence to create a breathtaking display of swirling colors. She was radiant, her alien beauty enhanced beyond anything he had ever seen. Their eyes met, and in that moment, the tension that had been building between them reached a breaking point. Justin pulled Xena close, their lips meeting in a passionate kiss that transcended the boundaries of their species. The glowing liquid swirled around them, creating a cocoon of light and sensation. But their intimate moment was short-lived. A gurgling sound pulled them back to reality, and they realized with alarm that the bioluminescent liquid was rising rapidly, threatening to flood the cavern. "We need to find a way out," Justin said, reluctantly pulling away from Xena. They scanned the cavern walls, spotting a series of narrow tunnels branching out from the main chamber. With the liquid still rising, they swam to the nearest opening and pulled themselves into the tunnel. The passageway was tight, forcing them to crawl on their hands and knees. Xena's amplified glow provided their only light as they navigated the twisting labyrinth. They encountered a series of obstacles, collapsed sections, ancient traps, and treacherously slippery inclines that required all their combined skills and strength to overcome. As they pressed on, Justin marveled at how seamlessly they worked together. Xena's knowledge of Athorian technology complemented his problem-solving skills, allowing them to bypass security systems and avoid deadly pitfalls. After what felt like hours of navigating the maze-like tunnels, they emerged into a vast underground complex. The chamber was filled with sleek, advanced technology that put even the main Athorian facility to shame. "Incredible," Xena breathed, her skin pulsing with a mix of awe and excitement. "This must be one of our ancient research centers." As they explored the complex, they discovered a cache of the rare mineral they had been seeking. The crystals glowed with an inner light, pulsing in rhythm with Xena's bioluminescent skin. But their elation was short-lived. As Xena interfaced with a nearby console, her expression changed from wonder to horror. Her skin dimmed, taking on a deep, mournful blue. "What is it?" Justin asked, concerned by her sudden change in demeanor. "These records," Xena said, her voice trembling. "They show that the catastrophe that forced us underground, it was our own doing. Our terraforming experiments went wrong, destroying the planet's ecosystem." The revelation hung heavy in the air between them. Justin watched as Xena grappled with this new understanding of her people's history, her faith in Athorian superiority visibly shaken. "Perhaps," Justin said gently, placing a hand on her shoulder, "this is a chance to learn from past mistakes, to do better this time." Xena looked at him, her eyes searching his face. "You're right," she said finally, her skin slowly brightening. "But we need to be careful. We can't risk repeating history." As they gathered as much of the rare mineral as they could carry, Justin and Xena discussed their next steps. Their suits had been damaged in the fall, and their supplies were running low. They agreed to return to the main Athorian facility to regroup and reassess their plans. The journey back to the surface was arduous, but they emerged from the underground complex stronger, both individually and as a team. As they stepped out into the harsh Zephyrian landscape once more, Justin realized that their experiences in the caverns had fundamentally changed their relationship and their understanding of the mission ahead. Little did they know that their challenges were not nearly finished. As they set out across the desert, the horizon darkened with the approach of a massive sandstorm, promising new trials for the human and Athorian as they fought to uncover the secrets of Zephyria and forge a future for both their peoples. Species as they fought to uncover the secrets of Zephyria and forge a future for both their peoples. As they crested a dune, Justin froze, his eyes widening behind his helmet's visor. "Xena, look," he said, pointing towards the horizon. Through the swirling sands, they could make out the silhouette of a spacecraft near the entrance to the main Athorian facility. Its sleek lines and distinctive markings were unmistakable to Justin. "Earth Alliance," he breathed, a mix of emotions washing over him. Xena's skin pulsed with a cautious yellow. "Your people? Here." They approached the facility carefully, keeping low to avoid detection. As they drew closer, Justin could see a small team of humans in Earth Alliance uniforms moving around the ship. His heart raced with conflicting feelings of relief and apprehension. "We need to make contact," Justin said, turning to Xena. "But I promise, I won't let them harm you or interfere with our mission." Xena nodded, her skin shifting to a determined blue. "I trust you, Justin." They emerged from their hiding spot, walking towards the facility's entrance. The Earth Alliance team spotted them immediately, raising their weapons in alarm before recognizing Justin's human form. A woman in a commander's uniform stepped forward, her expression a mix of shock and relief. "Justin Chun, we thought you were dead." "Commander Sarah Morales," Justin replied, recognizing her from his pre-mission briefings. "It's good to see you, but I have to ask, what are you doing here?" Commander Morales explained that they had detected strange energy signatures from Zephyria and came to investigate. Her eyes darted to Xena, widening in surprise. "And who, or what, is this?" Justin introduced Xena, giving a brief overview of the Athorian civilization and their current situation. He carefully omitted any mention of the Athorians' past interference with Earth space exploration, acutely aware of the delicate balance he needed to maintain. Commander Morales listened intently, her gaze shifting between Justin and Xena. "This is incredible. The potential here is enormous. We should combine our resources, work together to explore this facility, and assess the terraforming capabilities." As the two groups merged, Justin could feel the tension in the air. Some of the Earth Alliance team members eyed Xena with barely concealed distrust, while others seemed fascinated by her bioluminescent skin. Dr. Marcus Reeves, the lead Earth Alliance scientist, approached Xena with unconcealed curiosity. "Your physiology is remarkable. The applications of your bioluminescent abilities could revolutionize our understanding of bioenergy manipulation." Xena's skin flickered with a mix of pride and unease at the attention. Justin stepped closer to her, providing a reassuring presence. As they entered the Athorian facility, Justin and Xena took the lead, guiding the Earth Alliance team through the vast underground complex. They showcased the advanced technology, explaining their discoveries and the potential of the terraforming system. Dr. Reeves became particularly excited when they reached the chamber containing the stasis pods. "Incredible," he muttered, pressing his hand against one of the pods. "The implications for long-term space travel and colonization are staggering." Justin felt a twinge of unease at the scientist's enthusiasm. He caught Xena's eye, noting the concern in her gaze. They reached the central control room, where Justin and Xena revealed their plan to reactivate the terraforming technology. Commander Morales listened with growing interest. "This could be a game-changer for Earth," she said, her eyes gleaming. "With this technology, we could transform uninhabitable planets, solve our overpopulation crisis." Dr. Reeves nodded eagerly, not to mention the scientific value of studying the Athorian civilization. "We could learn so much from their advanced technology." As the discussions continued, Justin found himself caught between his loyalty to humanity and his commitment to Xena and the Athorians. He opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, a low hum filled the air. The facility's system suddenly sprang to life, holographic displays flickering into existence around them. An alarm blared, and a mechanical voice spoke in the Athorian language. Xena's skin paled to a sickly green. "It's the security protocols," she translated. "The presence of multiple humans has triggered a lockdown sequence. It thinks we're under attack." Panic erupted among the Earth Alliance team as sections of the complex began to seal off. Justin and Xena rushed to the central console, their fingers flying over the alien controls as they attempted to override the security measures. "The air supply is being cut off," Commander Morales shouted, checking a readout on her suit. "We need to get out of here." Justin gritted his teeth, his mind racing. He knew what he had to do, but the risk was enormous. He turned to Xena, their eyes meeting in silent communication. "I'm going to interface directly with the mainframe," he said, moving towards a neural link station. "Justin, no!" Xena cried, her skin flashing alarm red. The strain could kill you. But Justin was already connecting the interface cables to his suit. As he activated the link, pain seared through his mind. He gasped, his body going rigid as alien data flooded his consciousness. Xena moved swiftly, her hands pressed against Justin's suit. Her skin began to glow with intense brightness, creating a protective field around him. The Earth Alliance team watched in awe and fear as the alien used her mysterious powers to shield the human. Justin's mind raced through the Ithorian systems, decoding and rewriting security protocols at lightning speed. The strain was immense, threatening to overwhelm him. But Xena's energy field provided a lifeline, anchoring him to reality. With a final burst of effort, Justin broke through the last firewall. The alarms fell silent, and the sealed doors hissed open. He slumped forward, barely conscious, as Xena caught him in her arms. "Justin," she whispered, her skin pulsing with worry. "Can you hear me?" He managed a weak nod, his vision swimming. As he looked up at Xena, he became acutely aware of the Earth Alliance team watching them. Commander Morales' expression was unreadable, while Dr. Reeves looked on with barely concealed fascination. As Justin struggled to regain his bearings, he realized that their mission had just become infinitely more complicated. The arrival of the Earth Alliance had changed everything, and he and Xena would need to navigate a precarious path between two worlds if they hoped to succeed in their quest to unlock the secrets of Zephyria and revive the Ithorian civilization. Civilization, as Justin's vision cleared. He became acutely aware of the changed atmosphere in the room. Commander Morales' eyes darted between him and Xena, her expression hardening. "Secure the facility," she ordered her team, her voice sharp. "No one accesses any systems without my explicit permission." Justin struggled to his feet, steadied by Xena's supporting arm. "Commander, what are you doing? We need to work together, Dash." "I'm sorry, Justin." Morales cut him off, but the potential here is too great to ignore. We can't risk losing control of this technology. Within moments, armed Earth Alliance personnel spread throughout the complex, effectively trapping Justin and Xena. The Ithorian skin pulsed with a mix of indignation and fear as she watched her home become an occupied territory. Dr. Reeves approached, his eyes gleaming with barely suppressed excitement. "I'd like to run some tests on our guest," he said, gesturing to Xena. "We need to understand any potential biological threats." Justin stepped protectively in front of Xena. "She's not a threat. She's been helping us, Dash." "It's okay, Justin," Xena interrupted, her skin shifting to a calm blue. "I'll cooperate. Perhaps it will foster understanding between our species." As Xena was led away to the makeshift laboratory, Justin felt a surge of helplessness. He paced the confines of their new prison, his mind racing. There had to be a way to regain control of the situation. In the lab, Dr. Reeves marveled at Xena's unique physiology. "Fascinating," he muttered, observing her bioluminescent skin under various stimuli. "Your nervous system is incredibly advanced. The way it interfaces with your technology, it's beyond anything we've seen." Xena remained stoic throughout the examinations, but Justin could see the discomfort in her eyes. He knew he had to act. Using his knowledge of the facility's layout, Justin managed to slip away from his guards and access a hidden communication terminal. His fingers flew over the alien controls as he activated the long-dormant Ithorian emergency broadcast system. "This is a distress call to any Ithorian colonies," he whispered into the transmitter. "Zephyria needs your help." Days passed, and tensions within the facility continued to rise. Justin noticed some of the Earth Alliance team members developing strange symptoms, angry rashes, vivid hallucinations. Dr. Reeves looked increasingly worried as he examined the affected personnel. "Commander," Reeves addressed Morales, his voice urgent, "these symptoms are escalating. I think we need to consider evacuation." Morales shook her head firmly. "Not until we secured this technology." The potential here is too valuable to abandon. Justin and Xena, working in secret whenever they could, pieced together the cause of the mysterious ailments. It's the microorganisms, Xena explained, her skin pulsing with realization. They're part of Zephyria's ecosystem, crucial for terraforming. But they're reacting to the human presence. Justin nodded grimly. We need to synthesize a cure or the entire Earth Alliance team could be at risk. With this knowledge, Justin approached Commander Morales. I have a proposal, he said, meeting her stern gaze. Let Xena and me access the medical facilities. We can create a cure for your team. In exchange, we want our freedom and your cooperation in reviving the Athorian civilization. Morales considered for a long moment before reluctantly agreeing. You have 48 hours. After that, we do this my way. As Justin and Xena worked tirelessly in the medical lab, they uncovered more about the Athorians' past. It wasn't just failed terraforming, Xena said, her skin dimming with sorrow as she examined ancient records. There was a conflict with another species. That's what truly drove us underground. The revelation added new urgency to their mission. As they collaborated, the shared stress and close proximity intensified the connection between them. Xena's skin would pulse with mesmerizing patterns whenever Justin's hand brushed hers, the bioluminescence reflecting her growing feelings. Their work also unlocked new aspects of the terraforming technology. The rare mineral they had discovered earlier proved to be the key to activating the system on a massive scale. However, the potential consequences of such actions deeply affected on them. As they neared completion of the cure, an alarm blared throughout the facility. Justin's heart raced as he realized what it meant. His distress call had been answered. A massive Athorian ship entered Zephyria's orbit, its intentions unknown. The facility erupted into chaos as Earth Alliance personnel scrambled to defensive positions. Justin and Xena exchanged a look of both hope and apprehension. The arrival of the Athorian ship marked a turning point, one that could lead to cooperation or conflict. As they rushed to complete the cure and address the new situation, they knew that the future of human-Athorian relations and the fate of Zephyria itself now hung in the balance. Balance. As Justin and Xena exchanged worried glances, the facility's communication system crackled to life. Attention, Earth Alliance personnel. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the complex. This is Admiral Zorax of the Athorian Reclamation Fleet. We request immediate dialogue regarding the status of our ancestral home. Commander Morales' eyes hardened as she activated the response channel. This is Commander Elena Morales of the Earth Alliance. We're willing to talk, but be advised that we have secured this facility and its technology. Justin stepped forward, his heart racing. Commander, please, let me handle this. I can speak their language and explain our situation. Morales hesitated, then nodded curtly. Make it quick and don't promise anything. Justin took a deep breath and activated the communication array. Admiral Zorax, this is Justin Chun. I'm here with Xena, an Athorian we awakened from stasis. We've made significant discoveries about Zephyria and would welcome the opportunity to share information. There was a pause before the Admiral responded. Very well. We request permission to land a small delegation near your facility. As preparations for the Athorian arrival began, Justin and Xena raced to complete their work on the cure for the affected Earth Alliance team members. The lab hummed with activity as they synthesized the final components. It's ready, Xena announced, her skin pulsing with a mix of relief and anticipation. She held up a vial of iridescent liquid. Justin nodded, his expression grim. Let's hope this works. We need to build some goodwill before the Athorians land. They moved swiftly through the facility, administering the cure to the ill crew members. Within hours, the rashes began to fade and the hallucinations subsided. Dr. Reeves monitored the patient's progress, his earlier skepticism giving way to grudging respect. Remarkable, he muttered, reviewing the medical scans. The cellular regeneration rate is off the charts. As the last dose was administered, alarms blared throughout the complex. Justin rushed to the command center, where Commander Morales stood rigidly before a holographic display of Zephyria's orbit. "They're here," she said, her voice tight with tension. The sleek Ithorian vessel hung in low orbit, its hull shimmering with an otherworldly iridescence. A smaller shuttle detached from the main ship, descending towards the planet's surface. "Justin, Xena," Morales barked. "You're our liaison team. Meet the Ithorian delegation at the landing site. Keep them calm and cooperative." As they made their way to the surface in an armored transport, Justin felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He glanced at Xena, noting the rapid color changes rippling across her skin. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. Xena's gaze remained fixed on the approaching shuttle. "I never thought I'd see my people again. What if they've changed? What if we can't find common ground?" Justin placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, marveling at the warmth radiating from her bioluminescent skin. "We'll figure it out together." The Ithorian shuttle touched down in a swirl of dust and static electricity. As the hatch opened, Justin straightened his posture and stepped forward, Xena at his side. Admiral Zorax emerged first, his towering frame and shimmering skin commanding instant attention. His eyes, multifaceted and alert, scanned the welcoming party before settling on Xena. A flicker of recognition passed between them, causing Xena's skin to flare brightly. "Welcome to Zephyria," Justin said in carefully practiced Ithorian. "We're honored by your presence and eager to discuss the future of this world." Zorax inclined his head slightly. "Your mastery of our language is impressive, human. But I'm more interested in how you came to awaken one of our lost children." He gestured toward Xena, whose skin now pulsed with a mix of pride and apprehension. As they made their way back to the facility, Justin provided a concise overview of their discoveries and the current situation. Zorax listened intently, his expression unreadable. Upon entering the Grand Hall, they found Commander Morales and her senior staff waiting. The tension in the room was palpable as the two groups sized each other up. "Let's cut to the chase," Morales said. Her voice clipped. "What are your intentions for Zephyria?" Zorax's multifaceted eyes narrowed. "This is our ancestral home. We've searched for generations, following whispers and legends. Now that we've found it, we intend to reclaim it." "I'm afraid that's not possible," Morales countered. "We've already established a presence here and begun studying the advanced technology within this facility." As the argument escalated, Justin and Xena exchanged worried glances. They needed to find a way to bridge the gap between these two powerful factions. Suddenly, the facility's system sprang to life around them. Holographic displays flickered into existence, showing detailed schematics of Zephyria's terraforming process. "Look," Justin exclaimed, pointing to a pulsing indicator on one of the screens. "The planet's core. It's becoming unstable." All eyes turned to the display, where a three-dimensional model of Zephyria showed alarming signs of geological distress. Fissures were forming across the planet's surface, and magma levels were rising at an alarming rate. "What have you done?" Zorax demanded, his skin flashing with angry patterns. "It's not just us," Xena interjected, her hands flying over the control panel. "The presence of multiple species, the activation of dormant systems. We've accelerated the planet's natural processes." Justin's mind raced as he analyzed the data. "We need to act fast. If we don't stabilize the core, Zephyria could tear itself apart." Commander Morales stepped forward, her earlier hostility replaced by unwavering drive. "What do you propose?" "The terraforming technology," Justin said, pulling up another schematic. "We can use it to channel the planet's energy and stabilize the core. but it requires manual activation of relay stations across the surface. Impossible, Dr. Reeves interjected. The atmosphere is toxic to humans, and the terrain is too unstable for our equipment. All eyes turned to Xena, whose skin had taken on a resolute glow. "I'll go," she said firmly. "My physiology can withstand the conditions, and I can interface with the Athorian technology." Justin felt his heart clench. "You can't go alone. I'm coming with you." "Don't be foolish," Zorax rumbled. "You'll die out there, human." But Justin stood his ground, meeting Xena's gaze. "We started this together. We'll finish it together." As Justin and Xena prepared for their perilous mission, tensions continued to simmer between the Earth Alliance and Athorian delegation. Both groups, recognizing the gravity of the situation, reluctantly agreed to cooperate. Commander Morales pulled Justin aside as he donned his protective suit. "Remember your priorities," she murmured, her eyes darting towards the Athorians. "We can't lose control of this technology." Meanwhile, Admiral Zorax approached Xena, his voice low. "You carry the hopes of our people, child. Do not let the humans sway you from your true purpose." As Justin and Xena stepped into the airlock, ready to face the hostile surface of Zephyria, they knew that the fate of the planet and the future of human-Athorian relations rested squarely on their shoulders. The door hissed shut behind them, sealing them off from the conflicting agendas and leaving them alone to face the challenges ahead. As the airlock door sealed shut behind them, Justin and Xena stepped out onto Zephyria's hostile surface. The planet's unstable core had turned the once breathable atmosphere into a swirling mass of toxic gases and corrosive particles. Justin's environmental suit hummed softly as his filtration systems worked overtime to keep him alive. He glanced at Xena, marveling at her ability to breathe the noxious air unaided. Her skin pulsed with a soft, determined glow as she surveyed the treacherous landscape before them. "The first relay station should be about 2 kilometers in that direction," Justin said, pointing towards a jagged outcropping of rocks. His voice crackled through the suit's communication system. Xena nodded, her multifaceted eyes scanning the horizon. "Let's move quickly. The ground feels unstable." They set off across the barren wasteland, their progress slowed by frequent tremors that shook the planet's surface. Fissures opened up beneath their feet without warning, forcing them to constantly alter their path. As they approached the coordinates of the first relay station, Justin's heart sank. The ancient Athorian technology was almost completely buried under centuries of accumulated debris and sand. "We need to uncover it," Xena said, already moving towards a mound. Her powerful Athorian physique allowed her to easily shift large chunks of rock and compacted sand. Justin joined her, using a plasma cutter from his toolkit to slice through the more stubborn layers. The work was grueling, made worse by the oppressive heat and the constant threat of gas eruptions from nearby fissures. After what felt like hours, they finally uncovered the relay station's control panel. Xena placed her hand on the ancient interface, her skin lighting up with complex patterns as she connected with the Athorian technology. "It's working," she breathed, her voice filled with relief and wonder. The relay station hummed to life, sending a pulse of energy deep into the planet's core. The effect was immediate. The ground beneath them stabilized, and the violent tremors subsided to a gentle rumble. But as the first fragments of Zephyria's ecosystem began to heal, something unexpected happened. Around the base of the relay station, long-dormant seeds began to sprout. Within minutes, a carpet of alien vegetation spread outward, plants evolving and adapting to the harsh conditions before their very eyes. "Incredible," Justin murmured, crouching down to examine a rapidly growing vine with iridescent leaves. The relay stations don't just stabilize the core, they're jump-starting the entire ecosystem. Their moment of awe was short-lived. A violent tremor, more powerful than any they'd experienced so far, shook the ground. Justin lost his footing and stumbled into a pocket of noxious gas that had just erupted from a nearby fissure. Warning alarms blared inside his helmet as the corrosive gas began to eat through his suit's outer layer. "Justin!" Xena cried out, rushing to his side. Thinking quickly, she pressed her hands against his suit where the gas had made contact. Her skin began to glow intensely, and Justin watched in amazement as a protective field of bioluminescent energy enveloped him, halting the suit's deterioration. "How did you do that?" he asked, his voice filled with awe and gratitude. Xena's skin pulsed with a mix of relief and something deeper, more intimate. "I'm not entirely sure. I just knew I had to protect you." The moment passed, but something had shifted between them. As they set off towards the second relay station, Justin found himself hyper-aware of Xena's presence beside him, grateful for her strength and adaptability in this harsh environment. Their path to the second station was blocked by a massive chasm that had opened up in the planet's surface, a testament to the ongoing instability of Zephyria's core. Toxic fumes rose from its depths, making it impossible for Justin to attempt a crossing. Xena assessed the situation, her skin flickering with rapid calculations. "I can carry you across," she said finally, turning to Justin. "My body can withstand the fumes, and I'm strong enough to make the jump." Justin hesitated, acutely aware of the trust this would require. But as another violent tremor shook the ground, he nodded. "Okay, I'm ready." Xena scooped him up in her powerful arms, cradling him against her chest. Justin's heart raced, not just from the danger, but from their sudden proximity. He could feel the warmth of her bioluminescent skin even through his suit. With a powerful leap, Xena launched them across the chasm. For a heart-stopping moment, they were suspended over the abyss. Then, with a bone-jarring impact, they landed on the other side. As Xena set him down, Justin found himself reluctant to step away. Their eyes met, a moment of unspoken connection passing between them before the urgent beeping of Justin's suit computer brought them back to the task at hand. The second relay station stood before them, partially collapsed from the planet's violent upheavals. Its control panel sparked ominously, damaged circuits exposed to the corrosive atmosphere. "We need to reroute power to jumpstart it," Justin said, already moving towards a relay. "I can use my suit's power cells, but it's risky. If it doesn't work, I'll be trapped here without life support." Xena's skin pulsed with concern, but she nodded. "Do it. I'll use my bioluminescence to interface with what's left of the Athorian systems. Together, we might be able to activate it." As Justin carefully connected his suit's power supply to the damaged relay, Xena placed her hands on the ancient Athorian console. Her skin began to glow brightly, patterns of light racing across her body as she communicated with the dormant technology. "Now, Justin," she called out. Justin threw the switch, and for a terrifying moment, nothing happened. Then, with a surge of energy that made the air crackle, the relay station roared to life. A massive pulse of energy shot into Zephyria's core, and the entire planet seemed to shudder in response. As the energy wave spread out from the relay station, the ground beneath their feet began to shift and change. Huge sections of the planet's crust stabilized, while others underwent rapid transformations. In the distance, they saw massive forms rising from the ground, ancient Zephyrian life forms awakening from millennia of dormancy. Justin and Xena stood in awe of the spectacle before them, momentarily forgetting the urgency of their mission. These creatures, neither plant nor animal, but something uniquely Zephyrian, could hold the key to understanding the planet's past and securing its future. Their contemplation was interrupted by an urgent communication from the Athorian facility. Commander Morales' voice crackled through Justin's comms, tight with tension. "Justin, Xena, we have a situation. The Athorian ship has detected a large asteroid on a collision course with Zephyria. Impact estimated in less than 6 hours." You need to activate the remaining relay stations immediately if we have any hope of diverting it. Justin and Xena exchanged a look of perseverance. The fate of Zephyria, and potentially 2 civilizations, now rested squarely on their shoulders. We're on our way to the 3rd relay station now, Justin responded, already scanning the horizon for their next objective. In the distance, a massive volcano loomed, its peak obscured by toxic clouds. At its base, barely visible, was the outline of the 3rd relay station. "That's our target," Xena said, her skin pulsing with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. As they began their approach to the volatile mountain, the ground beneath them rumbled ominously. The race against time had begun, with the very planet fighting against them at every step. The volcano loomed before them, its peak shrouded in toxic clouds, while the 3rd relay station lay hidden somewhere near its base. Justin and Xena began their ascent, carefully picking their way across the treacherous volcanic terrain. The ground beneath their feet shifted and cracked with each step, forcing them to move cautiously. Toxic gases and superheated steam erupted from fissures around them, adding to the already perilous conditions. "Watch your footing," Xena warned, her skin pulsing with a soft glow as she navigated the unstable slope. "The tremors are getting worse." Justin nodded, his damaged environmental suit creaking with each movement. They were about halfway up the volcano when a violent tremor shook the mountain. Rocks and debris cascaded down the slope, and Justin lost his balance. "Justin!" Xena cried out as she watched him slide towards a gaping chasm that had suddenly opened up in the mountainside. With lightning-fast reflexes, Xena lunged forward, her powerful Ithorian muscles propelling her across the shifting terrain. She grabbed Justin's hand just as he was about to plummet into the abyss. The moment their hands connected, Xena's bioluminescence surged with unexpected intensity. A cocoon of pulsating light enveloped them both, momentarily blinding Justin. As Xena pulled him to safety, Justin felt a tingling sensation throughout his body. He looked down at his suit in amazement. The damaged components were repairing themselves, the energy from Xena's bioluminescent reaction somehow interacting with the suit systems. "Xena, look!" Justin exclaimed, flexing his arms and legs. "Your bioluminescence. It's fixed my suit." Xena's multifaceted eyes widened in surprise. "Fascinating. It seems our physiologies are more compatible than we thought." With Justin's suit now functioning better, they continued their climb at a faster pace. However, the volcano's activity intensified with each passing minute. They reached a plateau near the summit, where a shocking sight greeted them. The 3rd relay station was partially submerged in a pool of bubbling lava. Intense heat radiated from the molten rock, and even Xena's resilient Ithorian physiology struggled with the toxic fumes that filled the air. Justin quickly assessed the situation, his scientific mind racing. "We need to cool the lava to access the station," he said, scanning their surroundings. His eyes landed on a nearby ice formation, a remnant of Zephyrria's former climate. "There, we can use that ice to cool the lava pool." Working together, Justin and Xena broke off chunks of ice, using debris as makeshift tools. They tossed the ice into the lava, causing it to hiss and steam upon contact. As they worked, the volcano's activity intensified. The ground shook violently, and new fissures opened up around them, spewing more lava and toxic gases. "We're running out of time," Justin shouted over the rumbling of the mountain. "The volcano's about to erupt." With the lava partially cooled, Xena waded into the solidifying mass to reach the relay station. She placed her hands on the ancient technology, her skin glowing as she attempted to interface with it. But the extreme conditions had taken their toll on the station, making it difficult to establish a connection. Justin monitored the volcano's seismic activity through his repaired suit. "Xena, we have minutes before a major eruption. We need to activate the station now." Suddenly, An idea struck Justin. Your bioluminescence. Use it to jumpstart the relay station. Channel your energy directly into its core. Xena nodded, understanding the risk, but knowing they had no other choice. She pressed her hands firmly against the station's core and concentrated. Her skin began to glow with an intensity Justin had never seen before. The air crackled with energy as Xena channeled her bioluminescent power into the ancient Ithorian technology. A cry of pain escaped Xena's lips as the energy flowed through her. The strain on her body was evident, her normally smooth skin now pulsing erratically with the effort. Suddenly, the relay station roared to life. A massive pulse of energy shot deep into the planet's core, and the effect was immediate. The volcano's rumbling subsided, and the tectonic activity across Zephyria began to stabilize. But the victory came at a cost. Xena collapsed, her bioluminescence dimming to a faint flicker. Justin rushed to her aid, pulling her from the cooling lava and cradling her in his arms. Xena, can you hear me? Justin called out, panic rising in his voice as he noticed her shallow breathing and dimmed glow. Remembering how Xena's bioluminescence had repaired his suit, Justin made a desperate decision. He removed his helmet, exposing himself to the toxic atmosphere, and pressed his forehead against Xena's. Focusing all his energy on her, he willed her to recover. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, Xena's bioluminescence began to flicker and grow stronger. As she regained consciousness, her glow intensified, creating a swirling pattern of light that enveloped both of them. This shared energy field seemed to protect Justin from the harmful effects of Zephyria's atmosphere. Their eyes met, and for a moment, everything else faded away. The connection between them felt deeper than ever before, transcending their physical differences. The moment was shattered by an urgent communication from the Ithorian facility. Commander Morales' voice crackled through Justin's comms, her tone grave. Justin, Xena, we have a critical situation. The asteroid we detected earlier has changed course due to Zephyria's stabilizing gravitational field. It's now on a direct collision course with the planet. Impact estimated in less than 3 hours. Justin and Xena exchanged a look of purpose. They had come too far and risked too much to let Zephyria be destroyed now. We need to get to the next relay station, Justin said, helping Xena to her feet. If we can fully activate Zephyria's ancient defensive systems, we might be able to protect the planet from the asteroid. As they began their descent from the volcano, the landscape below had transformed. The stabilization of the planet's core had triggered rapid changes in the terrain. New challenges awaited them, but Justin and Xena moved forward, united in their mission to save Zephyria and its inhabitants. The race against time continued, with the fate of an entire world hanging in the balance. The descent from the volcano proved to be just as treacherous as their ascent, but for entirely different reasons. As they made their way down the slope, Justin and Xena found themselves in a landscape transformed beyond recognition. The once barren, rocky terrain had erupted into a riot of alien vegetation. Massive fronds unfurled before their eyes, while vines snaked across the ground, seeking purchase on any available surface. Pools of iridescent liquid had formed in depressions, their surfaces rippling with unseen movement. Incredible, Justin breathed, his scientific curiosity momentarily overriding the urgency of their mission. The planet's stabilization must have triggered a dormant biome. Xena nodded, her skin pulsing with a mix of wonder and caution. We must be careful. These life forms are unknown to us. As they picked their way through the dense foliage, Justin's suit began to emit a series of warning beeps. The display on his wrist flashed red, indicating a critical failure in the environmental systems. Xena, he called out, his voice tight with concern. My suit's malfunctioning. The atmosphere. Before he could finish, Xena was at his side. Her skin began to glow with an intense, pulsating light. The bioluminescent energy expanded outward, enveloping Justin in a protective cocoon. "Thank you," Justin gasped, feeling the toxic air recede from his lungs. The closeness of Xena's body, the warmth of her energy field, it all combined to create an intimacy that made his heart race. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the urgency of their mission faded into the background. There was something in Xena's multifaceted gaze that spoke of a connection deeper than their shared goal of saving Zephyria. A sudden movement in the underbrush snapped them back to reality. From between the alien fronds emerged a creature unlike anything Justin had ever seen. It was a bizarre fusion of plant and animal, its body a mass of undulating tendrils topped by a bulbous head ringed with sensory organs. Justin tensed, ready for a confrontation, but Xena placed a calming hand on his arm. Her skin pulsed with a gentle, rhythmic light. To Justin's amazement, the creature responded, its own body emitting a soft glow. "They're not hostile," Xena said, her voice filled with wonder. "They're curious. They're drawn to my bioluminescence." More of the creatures emerged from the vegetation, their bodies swaying in a hypnotic dance of light and shadow. As Justin watched, he realized they were forming a path through the dense growth. "They're guiding us," he said, understanding dawning. "They know the terrain." Following their unusual guides, Justin and Xena made swift progress through the transformed landscape. The Zephyrian life forms moved with fluid grace, their bodies perfectly adapted to the new environment. Their journey came to an abrupt halt at the edge of a vast chasm. The gap stretched for hundreds of meters, its depths lost in swirling mists. On the far side, barely visible, stood the next relay station. "We'll never make it across," Justin said, frustration evident in his voice. But Xena was already in motion. Her skin blazed with light as she communicated with the Zephyrian creatures. To Justin's astonishment, the beings began to move in unison, their bodies stretching and intertwining to form a living bridge across the chasm. "Remarkable," Justin breathed, taking in the incredible sight. "Come," Xena said, taking his hand. "We must cross quickly." They stepped onto the living bridge, feeling it shift and adjust beneath their feet. Justin's heart pounded as he looked down into the misty depths below. Xena's hand in his was an anchor, her steady presence keeping him focused. Halfway across, Xena's bioluminescence flared in response to the heightened tension. The sudden burst of light created a dazzling display, momentarily disorienting Justin. He stumbled, his foot slipping on the organic surface. In an instant, Xena's arm was around his waist, steadying him. Their bodies pressed close. Justin could feel the rapid pulse of her alien heartbeat. For a breathless moment, they stood suspended between sky and abyss, connected by more than just a need for balance. They reached the other side, both acutely aware of the lingering physical contact. Before them rose a hill crowned by the relay station, but between them and their goal stretched a field of crystalline structures. The crystals jutted from the ground at odd angles, their facets refracting light in disorienting patterns. As they approached, Justin's suit began to spark and sputter, while Xena's bioluminescence flickered erratically. The crystals were emitting some kind of interference field. "We can't go through," Justin said, his mind racing for a solution. "Unless—" He turned to the Zephyrian life forms that had followed them across the bridge. "Xena, can you ask them to help us one more time?" Understanding his plan, Xena communicated with the creatures. They responded by forming a protective corridor through the crystal field, their bodies absorbing the harmful energy. Justin and Xena entered the narrow path, their bodies pressed close in the confined space. Every step brought them into contact, the shared warmth and the pulsing of Xena's bioluminescence, creating a connection that transcended the physical. As they emerged from the crystal field, they found themselves face to face with their next challenge. The relay station stood before them, but it was partially submerged in a lake of strange, gelatinous liquid. The substance shimmered with an inner light, pulsing in a rhythm that seemed to match Xena's bioluminescence. Justin's scientific mind immediately began to analyze the situation. This substance, it's some kind of energy conductor. It might actually amplify the relay station's power. Xena stepped forward, her skin already beginning to glow in response to the liquid. I'll go in. My body is more adaptable to alien environments. Before Justin could protest, Xena had waded into the gelatinous lake. As she submerged herself, her bioluminescence flared, interacting with the liquid to create a spectacular light show. The energy transfer was visible, arcs of power dancing across the surface of the lake. Suddenly, Xena cried out, her body rigid with the intensity of the energy coursing through her. Justin's suit registered the massive power fluctuations, and he realized the strain it was putting on Xena's system. Without hesitation, Justin plunged into the lake beside her. The gelatinous substance enveloped him, and he felt an immediate tingling sensation across his skin. As he reached Xena, their combined presence triggered a reaction in the liquid, intensifying the energy transfer. Together, they stretched out their hands towards the submerged relay station. As they made contact, a surge of power unlike anything they had experienced before coursed through them. Justin felt as if every nerve in his body was on fire, but more than that, he felt connected to Xena, to the planet, to the very essence of life itself. In that moment of connection, Justin experienced flashes of Xena's thoughts and feelings. He felt her grit, her fear, and something else, a deep, growing affection for him that mirrored his own feelings. With a monumental effort, they activated the relay station. A massive pulse of energy shot into the atmosphere, forming a shimmering protective barrier around the planet. Exhausted and disoriented, Justin and Xena struggled to the shore, their bodies entwined as they supported each other. As they collapsed on the ground, Justin's calms crackled to life. Commander Morales' voice came through, tense but controlled. Justin, Xena, the barrier is up, but it may not be enough. The asteroid's impact is still imminent, though reduced. We need more power. Justin looked at Xena, both of them knowing what needed to be done. The stasis pods in the Athorian facility held the key to fully powering Zephyria's defenses. But awakening the dormant Athorians would change everything. As they rose to their feet, still tingling from the energy transfer, Justin and Xena set their sights on the Athorian facility in the distance. The fate of Zephyria and the future of their two species hung in the balance. The final leg of their journey awaited, fraught with both physical dangers and moral dilemmas. With a shared look of drive, they began to move, each step bringing them closer to a decision that would reshape their world. Worlds. They pushed forward, driven by the urgency of their mission and the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. As they approached the Athorian facility, the landscape around them pulsed with newfound life. The once barren terrain now teemed with alien flora, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to the looming threat above. Justin and Xena's footsteps quickened, their bodies still humming with residual energy from the relay station. The facility came into view, its sleek architecture a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. But something was different. The usual calm efficiency of the complex had given way to a flurry of activity. Earth Alliance personnel and Athorian delegates rushed about, their movements urgent and purposeful. "Something's changed," Justin said, his voice tight with tension. Xena nodded, her skin pulsing with a mix of anticipation and concern. The situation must have escalated. As they entered the facility, they were immediately confronted by Commander Morales and Admiral Zorax. The sight of the two leaders side by side, their previous animosity set aside, spoke volumes about the gravity of the situation. "Justin, Xena," Commander Morales began, her voice clipped and professional. "The defensive barrier is operational, but it's not enough. We need more power." Admiral Zorax stepped forward, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the urgency of the moment. The asteroid will still impact Zephyria, our newly stabilized ecosystem. It may not survive. Justin's mind raced, piecing together the information they'd gathered on their journey. The stasis pods, he said, his eyes widening with realization. If we awaken the dormant Ithorians, their combined bioenergy could power up the defensive systems to maximum capacity. A heavy silence fell over the group. Admiral Zorax's body tensed, the bioluminescent patterns on his skin flickering with conflicting emotions. To risk the lives of our ancestors. It may be our only option for survival, Commander Morales interjected, her gaze steady and determined. After a moment of internal struggle, Admiral Zorax nodded his assent. Very well. Let us proceed. The group moved swiftly through the facility's corridors, the tension palpable in the air. As they entered the stasis pod chamber, they were met by Dr. Reeves, his face drawn with concern. We can't awaken them all at once, Dr. Reeves explained, gesturing to the rows of pods. It would overwhelm the facility's power grid and potentially harm the subjects. Justin's mind whirred, drawing on his knowledge of both human and Ithorian physiology. What if we awaken them gradually? A controlled release of bioenergy. Xena stepped forward, her skin glowing with purpose. I can interface with the Ithorian technology, guide the awakening process. With a nod from Admiral Zorax, Xena began her work. Her hands moved gracefully over the control panels, her bioluminescence pulsing in sync with the awakening pods. The chamber filled with a soft, pulsating light as the first group of Ithorians began to stir. Justin and Dr. Reeves sprang into action, providing immediate medical attention to the disoriented Ithorians. As more pods activated, the surge of bioenergy became palpable, thrumming through the facility's systems. Outside, the defensive barrier visibly strengthened, its shimmering surface growing more opaque and resilient. But within the facility, warning alarms began to blare. The power drain is reaching critical levels, Commander Morales shouted over the din. Life support and gravity controls are fluctuating. Justin's mind raced, seeking a solution. His eyes darted around the room, taking in the straining systems and the pulsing energy of the awakening Ithorians. Suddenly, an idea struck him. The planet, he said, his voice rising with excitement and trepidation. We can route the excess energy directly into Zephyria's core. Use the planet itself as a massive power conduit. Admiral Zorax's eyes widened at the implications. It could stabilize the planet further, but the risks. We don't have a choice, Commander Morales cut in, her voice firm. The asteroid has entered the upper atmosphere. We're out of time. As the team scrambled to implement Justin's plan, Xena stepped forward. I'll act as a conduit, she said, her voice steady despite the danger. My connection to both Justin and my Ithorian heritage. I can bridge the gap. Justin's heart clenched at her words, but he knew she was right. As he worked feverishly to modify the facility's power systems, he and Xena shared a moment of intense connection. Their eyes met, conveying a depth of emotion that transcended words. With the final connections in place, Xena positioned herself at the center of the energy transfer array. Justin's hand hovered over the activation switch, his eyes locked with Xena's. Ready? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Xena nodded, her skin pulsing with willpower and trust. Ready. Justin activated the array, and a massive surge of bioenergy flowed through Xena into the planet's core. Her body arched, her bioluminescence flaring with unprecedented intensity. Justin monitored her vital signs, his heart racing with equal parts fear and hope. As the energy transfer reached its peak, the facility began to shake. Through the viewport, they could see the defensive barrier pulsing with renewed strength, disintegrating the approaching asteroid fragments more rapidly. But beneath their feet, the planet rumbled ominously. New fissures opened across Zephyria's surface, releasing plumes of steam and energy. The awakening Ithorians, still weak but growing stronger, watched in awe as their ancestral home underwent a dramatic transformation. Justin stood at the center of it all, his eyes darting between Xena's straining form, the monitors displaying the planet's changing geology, and the viewport showing the ongoing assault from the asteroid's remains. The fate of Zephyria, the Ithorians, and the Earth Alliance team hung in the balance, their futures intertwined in this crucible of cosmic forces. As another tremor shook the facility, Justin braced himself against a console, his mind already racing to anticipate the next challenge. The battle for Zephyria's survival was not nearly finished, and the true test of their interspecies cooperation was only just beginning. The facility shuddered violently, the tremors intensifying as the energy transfer reached its zenith. Justin's eyes darted between the monitors and Xena's straining form, his heart pounding in his chest. "Xena, your vitals are spiking," he shouted over the cacophony of alarms. "We need to reduce the power flow." Xena's skin pulsed with an otherworldly glow, her eyes locked on some distant point. "I can handle it," she gasped, her voice strained. "The barrier is strengthening, but at what cost?" Justin interrupted, his fingers flying over the controls. He began the delicate process of reducing the energy transfer, watching anxiously as Xena's vital signs slowly stabilized. As the power flow diminished, the defensive barrier flickered. Through the viewport, Justin saw larger asteroid fragments breaking through, impacting Zephyria's surface with terrifying force. Admiral Zorax's voice cut through the chaos. "We need more power. Accelerate the awakening process for the remaining Ithorians." The facility's systems groaned under the sudden influx of bioenergy. Consoles sparked and equipment failed as the power surge overwhelmed the complex's infrastructure. Commander Morales' voice crackled over the damaged comms. "All personnel, evacuate immediately. The facility's structural integrity is compromised." As if to punctuate her words, a massive tremor rocked the building. Justin looked up in horror as the ceiling began to collapse. He lunged for Xena, still connected to the energy transfer array, as chunks of debris rained down around them. The dust settled, revealing a wall of rubble separating Justin and Xena from the rest of the group. The comms were dead, leaving them isolated in the damaged chamber. "Xena, are you all right?" Justin coughed, helping her disconnect from the array. She nodded weakly, her bioluminescence flickering erratically. "The planet. I can feel it changing." Justin turned his attention to the chamber systems, working frantically to stabilize the power flow and find a way out. Outside, the impacts from the asteroid fragments sent shockwaves across Zephyria's surface, triggering a cascade of ecological changes. Through the cracked viewport, Justin watched in awe as the planet's flora and fauna underwent rapid evolution. The crystalline structures they had navigated earlier now pulsed with internal light, growing and reshaping themselves before his eyes. "Justin," Xena called, her voice tinged with wonder and confusion. "Something's happening to me." He turned to see her bioluminescence shifting, patterns and colors he had never seen before dancing across her skin. Her eyes had taken on an otherworldly glow, and she moved with a newfound grace that seemed almost ethereal. "The core energy," Justin realized. "It's changing you, connecting you to the planet somehow." Xena nodded, her expression a mix of excitement and trepidation. "I can sense the changes, feel the planet's rhythms. It's overwhelming." An idea struck Justin. Can you use that connection? Help stabilize the energy flow, maybe even guide the planet's transformation? Xena closed her eyes, concentrating. The chamber hummed with energy as she reached out with her mind, tapping into the very essence of Zephyria. Justin watched in amazement as the tremors began to subside, the defensive barrier regaining its strength. "It's working," he breathed, checking the monitors. "You're doing it, Xena." With the immediate threat contained, they turned their attention to escaping the damaged chamber. Xena's newfound abilities proved invaluable as she manipulated energy fields to clear a path through the debris. They emerged into a facility that was eerily empty, signs of a hasty evacuation all around them. As they made their way to the surface, Justin's scientific mind raced with questions about Xena's transformation and its implications for their future on Zephyria. The sight that greeted them outside left them speechless. The barren landscape they had traversed earlier was gone, replaced by a vibrant, alien ecosystem. Towering plants pulsed with bioluminescence, while creatures of impossible shapes and sizes moved through the undergrowth. "By the stars," Xena whispered, her own bioluminescence responding to the changed environment. They spotted Admiral Zorax approaching, his expression a mix of relief and awe. "You're alive! We feared the worst when the chamber collapsed." He quickly briefed them on the situation. The majority of the Ithorians and Earth Alliance personnel had taken refuge in a nearby valley, establishing a temporary settlement while they assessed the full extent of Zephyria's transformation. As they made their way to the settlement, they encountered pockets of intense energy, remnants of the core transfer. Justin watched in fascination as these pockets accelerated the growth and evolution of nearby life forms in unpredictable ways. "These energy pockets," he mused, his mind already formulating theories. "If we could harness them, control their effects, we might be able to further stabilize the planet, maybe even restore damaged areas." Their arrival at the settlement was met with cheers from both humans and Ithorians. But the celebration was short-lived as the reality of their situation set in. Resources were scarce, and the newly awakened Ithorians struggled to adapt to their changed world. Commander Morales approached, her expression grim but determined. "We need to form a joint science team," she said without preamble. "Study these changes, find ways to use them to our advantage. And we need to get our ships operational again if we ever hope to contact Earth or the Ithorian homeworld." As night fell on the transformed Zephyria, Justin and Xena found themselves at the edge of the settlement, gazing out at the alien landscape. The events of the day had forged a bond between them that transcended species, a shared experience that had changed them both irrevocably. Xena's skin pulsed with a soft glow, responding to Justin's proximity. He turned to her, words failing him as he took in her otherworldly beauty. Their eyes met, and in that moment, all the unspoken feelings between them crystallized into something tangible, electric. Their lips met in a kiss that sent shockwaves through both their bodies, the residual energy from the core transfer amplifying every sensation. As they sank to the ground, lost in each other's embrace, neither noticed the nearby energy pocket beginning to pulse with increasing intensity, a harbinger of the challenges that still lay ahead on this strange new world they now called home. Home! Their passionate embrace had left them oblivious to the world around them, but as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, they were jolted back to reality by urgent shouts from the settlement. Justin and Xena sprang to their feet, their bodies still tingling from the residual energy of their encounter. As they rushed towards the commotion, the sight that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The energy pocket they had noticed earlier had expanded exponentially overnight, transforming into a swirling vortex of exotic particles. Its pulsating, iridescent surface cast an otherworldly glow over the landscape, dwarfing the settlement and threatening to engulf everything in its path. Commander Morales' voice cut through the chaos, issuing rapid-fire orders to establish a defensive perimeter. Earth Alliance personnel scrambled to set up energy barriers and evacuation protocols, their faces etched with a mix of fear and grit. Admiral Zorax stood at the center of a group of awakened Ithorians, their bioluminescent skin flickering in unison as they attempted to analyze the vortex's composition. Their newly reawakened minds struggled to comprehend the dramatically altered world they now inhabited. As Justin and Xena approached the command center, Dr. Reeves intercepted them, his eyes wide with excitement and concern. "I need to speak with you both immediately," he said, ushering them into a makeshift lab. Inside, holographic displays flickered with streams of data. Dr. Reeves tapped a few commands, bringing up detailed genetic scans of Justin and Xena. "Your physiology has undergone significant changes," he explained, his voice tinged with awe. "Justin, your DNA now contains Athorian genetic markers. And Xena, your bioluminescent abilities have expanded beyond anything we've seen before." Justin stared at the display, his mind racing to process the implications. "What does this mean for us?" Dr. Reeves shook his head. "I'm not entirely sure, but it seems you've become a bridge between our species. Your unique physiology might be the key to understanding and potentially controlling these energy disturbances." Xena flexed her hands, watching as waves of light rippled across her skin. "I can feel it," she whispered. "The energy. It's like I can reach out and touch it." A tremor shook the lab, sending equipment crashing to the floor. Commander Morales burst in, her face grim. "We need a solution fast. The vortex is growing more unstable by the minute." Justin and Xena exchanged a look, a silent understanding passing between them. "We'll go," Justin said. "We'll enter the vortex and gather data. Maybe we can find a way to stabilize it." Within minutes, they were outfitted in modified environmental suits, equipped with rudimentary energy-measuring devices. As they approached the swirling mass of energy, the transformed landscape around them seemed to pulse with life. Plants grew and shifted before their eyes, while strange, new creatures darted through the underbrush. Suddenly, a group of these evolved Zephyrian beings emerged from the foliage. Their forms were fluid, constantly shifting and adapting. Justin tensed, ready for an attack. But to his surprise, the creatures formed a protective circle around them. Xena's eyes widened. "There. Communicating," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "Not with words, but with energy patterns. They recognize us as the catalyst of their evolution." Guided by their unlikely guardians, Justin and Xena pressed on towards the vortex. As they drew closer, the fabric of reality itself seemed to warp and twist. Plants sprouted, matured, and decayed in seconds. Small animals evolved through multiple generations in the blink of an eye. "Temporal distortions," Justin breathed, checking his instruments. "The vortex is creating localized areas of accelerated time. If this spreads..." Xena nodded grimly. It could tear the planet apart. At the edge of the vortex, Xena took a deep breath and reached out with her enhanced abilities. The moment she made contact with the energy field, she gasped, her body arching as if struck by lightning. "Xena!" Justin cried, grabbing her arm. The instant he touched her, he felt himself drawn into her experience. Their minds merged, connected by their shared genetic changes, and suddenly they were hurtling through Zephiria's past. They witnessed the original Athorian colonization, saw the planet teem with life, then watched in horror as a cataclysmic event forced the survivors underground. But beyond these memories, they sensed something else, a vast, slumbering consciousness. "The planet," Xena whispered, her voice echoing in their shared mindscape. "Zephyria itself is alive, and it's waking up." As this realization washed over them, they felt the planet's confusion. It struggled to reassert control over its physical form. The vortex was a manifestation of this awakening, a side effect of Zephiria's attempts to regain equilibrium. Justin's scientific mind raced with the implications. If we stabilize the vortex, we might prevent the planet from fully awakening. But if we don't, it could destroy everything on the surface. Their shared consciousness resonated with the weight of this dilemma. As they grappled with the decision, they became aware of other disturbances across the planet's surface. The transformed Zephyrian life forms were acting in concert, protecting certain areas while driving settlers away from others. In that moment, Justin and Xena understood the magnitude of their role. They weren't just explorers or scientists anymore. They had become mediators between worlds, between species, between consciousness itself. With newfound purpose, they began the delicate process of communicating with Zephyria's awakening mind. Xena channeled her bioluminescent energy into the vortex, while Justin focused on translating the alien thoughts and emotions that flooded their shared consciousness. The strain was immense. Xena's skin blazed with light, while Justin's body temperature soared to dangerous levels. Their Zephyrian guardians tightened their protective circle, using their evolved abilities to shield the couple from the vortex's more destructive effects. As their minds merged more deeply with Zephyria's consciousness, Justin and Xena's perspective shifted dramatically. They saw the planet not as a resource or an obstacle, but as a living partner in the future of both human and Ithorian civilizations. Slowly, painstakingly, they began to negotiate a balance between the needs of the settlers and the planet's own evolutionary path. The swirling energy of the vortex started to coalesce into more controlled patterns, the temporal distortion subsiding. But the connection was fragile, and maintaining it pushed Justin and Xena to their limits. As they stood locked in their trance-like state, the fate of Zephyria hung in the balance, dependent on their ability to bridge the gap between worlds and forge a new future for all its inhabitants. As they stood locked in their trance-like state, the fate of Zephyria hung in the balance, dependent on their ability to bridge the gap between worlds and forge a new future for all its inhabitants. The energy coursing through Justin and Xena intensified, their bodies trembling with the strain of maintaining the connection. Xena's skin blazed brighter, her bioluminescence pulsing in sync with the vortex's swirling patterns. Justin's face contorted in pain as his human physiology struggled to cope with the alien energies flooding his system. The Zephyrian creatures surrounding them sensed the mounting danger. In a display of emergent intelligence, they moved closer, forming a living conduit. Their fluid bodies shimmered and pulsed, channeling excess energy away from Justin and Xena and dispersing it into the surrounding environment. Back at the settlement, alarms blared in the makeshift command center. Dr. Reeves' eyes widened as he studied the telemetry data from Justin and Xena's suits. "Commander, Admiral, we have a critical situation," he called out, his voice tight with urgency. Commander Morales and Admiral Zorax rushed to his side, their faces grim as they absorbed the information on the holographic displays. "Their vital signs are off the charts," Dr. Reeves explained, pointing to the erratic spikes in the data. "If we don't extract them soon, we may lose them both." Morales' eyes hardened. "Assemble a rescue team immediately. We need our best people out there." Admiral Zorax nodded in agreement. "I'll gather a group of my most capable Ithorians. Their bioluminescent abilities may prove useful in navigating the energy disturbances." Within minutes, a joint human-Ithorian rescue team was racing towards the vortex. They navigated the transformed landscape with difficulty, dodging rapidly growing plants and newly evolved creatures that seemed to appear out of nowhere. As they approached the vortex, they encountered an unexpected obstacle. The Zephyrian creatures had created a series of shimmering energy barriers, blocking their path. Each time the team tried to advance, the barriers pulsed with increased intensity, forcing them back. "They're protecting them," one of the Ithorian scientists observed, his skin flickering with excitement. These creatures recognize the importance of what Justin and Xena are doing. Inside the vortex, Justin and Xena's shared consciousness expanded beyond the confines of their physical forms. They perceived Zephyria as a vast, living network of energy channels crisscrossing the planet's surface and delving deep into its core. "We need to stabilize these channels," Justin's voice echoed in their shared mindscape. "It's the key to balancing the planet's transformation." Xena's presence pulsed in agreement. Together, They began the delicate process of guiding the chaotic energy flows into more stable patterns. As they worked, they felt their bodies changing, adapting to channel the immense power coursing through them. Justin's skin tingled as bioluminescent patterns began to form, mirroring Xena's natural glow. Xena, in turn, felt her body shift and change, her Ithorian features softening as human DNA integrated more fully into her genetic structure. Their mental and emotional connection deepened with each passing moment. Memories flowed between them. Justin's childhood on Earth, Xena's awakening from stasis, their first encounter in the underground city. Emotions intertwined, creating a bond that transcended species and individual identity. Outside the vortex, the rescue team finally broke through the last energy barrier. They stopped short, awestruck by the sight before them. Justin and Xena floated several feet above the ground, encased in a cocoon of pulsating energy. The Zephyrian creatures formed a protective circle around them, their fluid bodies rippling with complex patterns. Dr. Reeves pushed forward, a specially designed scanner in his hands. He aimed it at the floating couple, his brow furrowed in concentration as he interpreted the readings. "This is extraordinary," he breathed. "Their vital signs have stabilized, but at a level far beyond normal human or Ithorian parameters. It's as if they've entered a symbiotic state with the planet itself." As the team debated how to safely extract Justin and Xena, the vortex began to contract. Energy coalesced around the floating couple, growing brighter and more intense with each passing second. "Everyone, take cover," Commander Morales shouted, pulling Dr. Reeves back just as a blinding flash erupted from the vortex. A shockwave rippled across the planet's surface, knocking the rescue team off their feet. When they regained their senses and the dust settled, they found Justin and Xena lying unconscious on the ground, their bodies intertwined. The Zephyrian creatures retreated, their protective duties seemingly complete. Dr. Reeves rushed forward, his medical scanner whirring as he examined the couple. "They're alive," he announced, relief evident in his voice. "But they're in some kind of deep coma. We need to get them back to the medical facility immediately." As the rescue team carefully loaded Justin and Xena onto stretchers, they couldn't help but notice the changes in the surrounding landscape. The frenzied growth and evolution had slowed, and a new balance seemed to have emerged between Zephiria's original state and its transformed ecosystem. During the journey back to the settlement, plants and animals reacted to Justin and Xena's presence in strange ways. Flowers turned to face them as they passed, and creatures emerged from hiding to watch their progress, as if drawn by an unseen force. In the medical facility, Dr. Reeves and a combined team of human and Ithorian scientists worked tirelessly to understand Justin and Xena's condition. Initial scans revealed a perfectly balanced blend of human and Ithorian DNA in both of them, along with brain activity that far exceeded normal parameters. Commander Morales and Admiral Zorax stood outside the medical bay, watching through a window as the scientific team bustled around the unconscious couple. "What do you think this means for our mission?" Morales asked, her voice low. Admiral Zorax's skin flickered with a mix of emotions. "I'm not sure, Commander, but I believe we've entered a new phase of our relationship with Zephyria, one that will require us to rethink everything we thought we knew." As if in response to his words, a potted plant in the corridor suddenly sprouted new leaves, its growth visible to the naked eye. Both leaders watched in stunned silence, the implications of this new reality beginning to sink in. Inside the medical bay, Dr. Reeves leaned closer to his console, his eyes widening as he processed the latest scan results. The neural patterns of Justin and Xena were synchronizing not only with each other, but with rhythmic energy pulses emanating from deep within Zephiria's core. "By all that's holy," he whispered, his mind racing with the possibilities. "They're not just connected to each other. They're connected to the entire planet." As the settlement grappled with these new developments, Justin and Xena lay motionless on their medical beds, their hands intertwined. Though their eyes remained closed, their joined consciousness roamed freely through Zephyria's vast network of energy channels, witnessing the birth of a new world, one that would challenge the very foundations of both human and Athorian society. Civilization, as Justin and Xena lay motionless, their hands clasped together, the medical facility buzzed with activity. Dr. Reeves and his team worked around the clock, monitoring the couple's vital signs and analyzing the strange energy patterns emanating from their bodies. Days turned into a week, and the settlement found itself grappling with a series of inexplicable phenomena. The transformed ecosystem surrounding the camp began to exhibit peculiar behavior, forming intricate patterns that mirrored the neural activity in Justin and Xena's brains. Dr. Reeves rubbed his tired eyes as he studied the latest readouts. "This is unprecedented," he muttered, gesturing to a holographic display. Their neural patterns are synchronizing not just with each other, but with the planet's core energy pulses. Commander Morales leaned in, her brow furrowed. "What does that mean for their condition? For us?" Before Dr. Reeves could answer, an alarm blared from a nearby console. A junior scientist rushed over, her eyes wide. "Doctor, you need to see this." The team gathered around a large monitor, showing a live feed of the area just outside the settlement. Plants were growing at an accelerated rate, arranging themselves in symmetrical formations. Zephyrian creatures moved in coordinated patterns, their behavior seeming to respond to unseen cues. "It's as if—" Dr. Reeves paused, his mind racing to process the implications. "It's as if the entire ecosystem is being influenced by Justin and Xena's subconscious thoughts." Commander Morales straightened, her expression hardening. "This is a potential security risk. We need to contain this situation before it gets out of hand." She turned to her second-in-command. "Begin construction of a containment facility immediately. We need to isolate them until we understand what's happening." Word of the commander's decision spread quickly through the settlement. Admiral Zorax, upon hearing the news, rushed to confront Morales. "Commander, with all due respect, I must object to this course of action," Zorax said, his skin flickering with agitation. "Isolating them could disrupt the delicate balance they've achieved with the planet." Morales stood her ground, "And leaving them as they are could pose an even greater threat to our people. We don't know the extent of their influence on the environment." Their disagreement created a ripple effect throughout the settlement, dividing opinions among both humans and Athorians. Tensions rose as work on the containment facility began, with some settlers vocally protesting the decision. Amidst the growing conflict, Dr. Reeves made a breakthrough. He burst into the command center, clutching a device in his hands. "Commander, Admiral, I've developed a neural interface. It might allow us to communicate with Justin and Xena." Both leaders set aside their differences momentarily, intrigued by this development. They watched as Dr. Reeves and his team carefully attached the device to Justin and Xena's temples. After several failed attempts, a series of lights on the interface flickered to life. Dr. Reeves leaned in, his voice trembling with excitement. "Justin? Xena? Can you hear us?" A long moment passed before a soft pulse of light answered. Dr. Reeves quickly explained the yes or no system they had established. "Are you aware of your surroundings?" 2 pulses. "Yes." "Are you in any pain or distress?" 1 pulse. "No." "Are you actively working to stabilize Zephyria's transformation?" 2 emphatic pulses. "Yes." As the questioning continued, the settlement's perimeter sensors began to sound. Security footage showed dozens of Zephyrian creatures gathering just beyond the camp's boundaries. Their fluid bodies shimmered in the alien sunlight, creating an eerie yet mesmerizing sight. "What do they want?" Morales asked, her hand instinctively moving to her sidearm. Admiral Zorax studied the footage, his skin pulsing with a mix of curiosity and concern. "They're not attacking. It's almost as if—" They're standing guard. In the medical bay, Dr. Reeves noticed something that made him gasp. "Commander, Admiral, you need to see this." They hurried over, their eyes widening as they took in the sight before them. Justin's skin had developed a faint, pulsating glow, reminiscent of Xena's natural bioluminescence. Xena's features had softened, taking on more human-like characteristics. "They're still changing," Dr. Reeves whispered. "Adapting, evolving." Before anyone could respond, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Alarms blared throughout the settlement as seismic sensors detected massive energy fluctuations across the planet. Admiral Zorax's skin paled. "No," he breathed. "It can't be." "What is it?" Morales demanded. "The ancient terraforming machines," Zorax explained, his voice tight with urgency. "They're activating. If we don't stop them, they could undo everything Justin and Xena have accomplished." As if in response to his words, Justin and Xena's bodies began to levitate slightly above their beds. A soft, pulsating energy field surrounded them, reminiscent of their initial connection with the planet. Dr. Reeves' neural interface crackled to life, and a synthesized voice filled the room. It spoke with the combined tones of Justin and Xena, overlaid with an otherworldly resonance. "The balance must be maintained," it intoned. "The old must give way to the new." A blinding flash of light erupted from their bodies, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. When they looked back, Justin and Xena were gone, leaving behind only residual energy readings and a host of unanswered questions. As alarms blared and systems rebooted from the energy surge, Commander Morales and Admiral Zorax exchanged looks of shock and grit. The fate of their mission, their people, and possibly the entire planet now hung in the balance. "Assemble a team," Morales ordered, her voice steely with purpose. "We need to find them and figure out what's happening with those machines." As the settlement mobilized for this new crisis, the transformed landscape of Zephyria seemed to pulse with anticipation. Whatever came next would shape the future of not just one world, but two civilizations caught in the throes of an unprecedented evolutionary leap. The blinding flash faded, leaving behind an eerie silence in the medical bay. Where Justin and Xena had been moments before, only empty beds remained, their sheets still warm from the couple's presence. Commander Morales and Admiral Zorax stood frozen, their eyes fixed on the vacant space. Dr. Reeves was the first to break the stunned silence. "They're gone," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the fading alarms. As if his words had broken a spell, chaos erupted. Morales sprang into action, barking orders into her communicator, while Zorax's skin rippled with a kaleidoscope of colors, reflecting his tumultuous emotions. "Lock down the settlement," Morales commanded. "I want a full sweep of the perimeter and dash." Her words were cut short as the lights flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. Emergency backup power kicked in seconds later, bathing everything in a dim red glow. "Status report," Morales demanded, her voice tight with urgency. A panicked technician's voice crackled over the intercom. "Commander, we're experiencing a massive power failure across the entire settlement. Most of our systems are offline." Zorax's skin pulsed with a deep blue of concern. The energy surge from Justin and Xena's disappearance must have overloaded our systems. Morales nodded grimly. "We need to get communications back up. Without our tech, we're blind and vulnerable." As they rushed out of the medical bay, they were met with a scene of confusion and fear. Settlers, both human and Athorian, crowded the corridors, their faces etched with worry in the dim emergency lighting. "Everyone remain calm," Morales shouted, her authoritative voice cutting through the din. "Return to your quarters and await further instructions." Over the next few hours, the settlement descended into a controlled chaos. With most of their advanced technology rendered useless, they were forced to rely on more primitive methods of communication and organization. Runners were dispatched to relay messages between different sections of the settlement, while teams of engineers worked tirelessly to restore power and functionality to critical systems. In the makeshift command center, Dr. Reeves hunched over a jury-rigged console, his face illuminated by the soft glow of a handheld scanner. "Commander, Admiral," he called out, his voice tight with excitement and trepidation. "I've made a discovery." Morales and Zorax hurried over, their faces etched with equal parts hope and concern. The residual energy readings left behind by Justin and Xena, Dr. Reeves explained, pointing to a series of fluctuating waves on the scanner's display. They matched the signatures of the ancient Ithorian terraforming machines. Zorax's skin rippled with a mix of awe and disbelief. "That's impossible. Those machines have been dormant for millennia." "Not anymore," Dr. Reeves said, shaking his head. "I believe Justin and Xena have somehow merged with the planet's consciousness and the Ithorian technology. They become living conduits for Zephyria's transformation." Before anyone could fully process this revelation, a young Ithorian burst into the command center, his skin flashing with urgent patterns of light. "Commander, Admiral, you need to see this." They followed him to the settlement's observation deck, where a small crowd had already gathered. As they looked out over the transformed landscape of Zephyria, their jaws dropped in collective awe. Massive crystalline structures were erupting from the ground, their translucent surfaces pulsing with an otherworldly energy that matched the rhythm of the planet's core. The structure seemed to grow before their eyes, reaching towards the alien sky like the fingers of some colossal, subterranean being. "By the stars," Zorax breathed, his skin flickering with a riot of colors. Morales' expression hardened as she watched the crystalline formations reshape the landscape. "This is a potential threat to the settlement," she declared. "We need to establish a defensive perimeter immediately." Despite the lingering tensions between humans and Ithorians, the shared crisis brought a new sense of unity to the settlement. Working side by side, they began constructing fortifications using whatever materials they could salvage. The sound of hammering and the glow of makeshift forges filled the air as they raced against time to secure their home. As the defensive preparations continued, Admiral Zorax approached Morales with a proposal. "Commander, I'd like to lead a team to explore one of these crystal structures," he said, his skin pulsing with determined hues. "If they're connected to our ancient technology, we might be able to learn something crucial." Morales hesitated, weighing the risks against the potential benefits. Finally, she nodded, agreed. "But be careful, Admiral. We don't know what you might encounter out there." Zorax assembled a small team of Ithorian scientists and human security personnel. As they approached the nearest crystal formation, the structure seemed to respond to their presence. Intricate patterns of light danced across its surface, pulsing in time with the Ithorian's natural bioluminescence. "Fascinating," Zorax murmured, reaching out to touch the crystal's smooth surface. As his hand made contact, a surge of energy coursed through him, and his eyes widened in surprise. Suddenly, the ground around them began to shift and bulge. The team watched in amazement as a group of Zephyrian creatures emerged from the earth. These beings were unlike anything they had encountered before, their bodies a seamless blend of organic matter and crystalline structures. The creatures approached the team, their movements fluid and purposeful. They began to emit complex patterns of light, similar to Ithorian bioluminescence, but far more intricate. Zorax's skin rippled with concentration as he focused on the patterns. Slowly, haltingly, he began to respond, his own bioluminescence flickering in a crude approximation of their language. As the rudimentary communication continued, Zorax's expression shifted from confusion to wonder. He turned to his team, his skin pulsing with excitement. "They're trying to tell us something about Justin and Xena," he explained. "Their consciousness. It's spread throughout the planet's neural network. They've become a bridge between the organic and technological aspects of Zephyria's transformation. Back at the settlement, DR, Reeves made another breakthrough. Poring over the data from his makeshift sensors, he detected faint neural signatures matching Justin and Xena's brainwave patterns emanating from various points across the planet. As Zorax's team returned with their findings and Dr. Reeves shared his discovery, Commander Morales knew they had to act. "We need to find them," she declared. "If we can reunite Justin and Xena, we might be able to regain some control over the situation." A joint human-Athorian team was quickly assembled, equipped with Dr. Reeves' specially designed sensors. As they prepared to embark on their critical mission, a young Athorian scientist named Lyra stepped forward, volunteering her expertise on Zephyria's changing ecosystem. The team set out into the transformed landscape, their path illuminated by the pulsing light of the crystalline structures that now dotted the horizon. As they ventured further from the settlement, the world around them became increasingly alien and wondrous. Forests of bioluminescent plants swayed in an unfelt breeze, their colors shifting in response to the team's thoughts and emotions. Rivers of pure energy carved new paths through the terrain, their flow defying the laws of physics. Creatures that seemed to exist in a state between organic life and living crystal watched the team's progress with unknowable intelligence. Their journey led them to a massive crater, its edges smooth and glassy as if melted by intense heat. At the center, a pulsating energy field hung suspended in the air, its swirling patterns reminiscent of the one that had enveloped Justin and Xena before their disappearance. As the team cautiously approached, the field began to fluctuate wildly. Through the shifting energies, they caught glimpses of a human figure floating within. Lyra stepped forward, her Athorian senses attuned to the energy field. "It's Justin," she announced, her skin pulsing with certainty. His neural patterns are unmistakable, but changed, evolved. The team quickly set up the containment unit designed by Dr. Reeves, preparing to extract Justin from the energy field. As they worked, the surrounding landscape began to shift and change at an accelerated rate. The crater's smooth walls rippled like water, and the ground beneath their feet trembled ominously. A swirling vortex of energy began to form around them, threatening to engulf the team. Lyra, acting on instinct, used her bioluminescent abilities to create a protective barrier of light around the group. "Hurry!" she called out, her skin flashing with the strain of maintaining the barrier. "I can't hold this for long." With a final surge of effort, they activated the containment unit. The energy field collapsed in on itself, depositing Justin's transformed body into the waiting chamber. His skin now shimmered with a faint, pulsating glow, and his features seemed to shift subtly, as if struggling to maintain a fixed form. As soon as Justin was secure, the team began their treacherous journey back to the settlement. The landscape around them continued to change and evolve, as if Zephyria itself was reacting to Justin's extraction. New crystal formations erupted from the ground, forcing them to constantly alter their route. Lyra, monitoring Justin's vital signs, noticed alarming fluctuations. "His connection to the planet's neural network is destabilizing," she reported, her skin pulsing with worry. "We need to find Xena and reunite them, or we might lose them both." The team pressed on, acutely aware that time was running out. They had Justin, but Xena was still out there somewhere, her consciousness spread across the planet. As they navigated the increasingly dangerous and unpredictable environment, they knew that the fate of not just Justin and Xena, but the entire planet and both their species hung in the balance. The transformed landscape of Zephyria stretched out before them, beautiful and terrifying in its rapid evolution. Somewhere in this alien world, Xena's fragmented consciousness waited to be found. The search team steeled themselves for the challenges ahead, knowing that their next steps would shape the future of two worlds irrevocably linked by forces beyond their understanding. Comprehension. As they pressed on through the evolving terrain, the team's perseverance was matched only by their growing sense of urgency. The journey back to the settlement proved even more treacherous than their initial expedition. Massive vines erupted from the ground, their prehensile tendrils whipping through the air and grasping at the team members. Commander Morales swung her plasma cutter in wide arcs, slicing through the dense growth to clear a path. "Watch your step," she called out as crystalline formations burst from the earth, creating a labyrinth of shimmering walls that seemed to shift and rearrange with each passing moment. Admiral Zorax's skin pulsed with a mix of awe and concern as he navigated the ever-changing maze. "The planet's transformation is accelerating," he observed, his voice tight with worry. Lyra, monitoring Justin's vital signs, suddenly let out a gasp. "Commander, Admiral, Justin's readings are becoming erratic," she reported, her skin flashing urgent patterns. Dr. Reeves was right. His hybrid physiology is struggling without connection to the planet's neural network and Xena's presence. As if in response to Lyra's words, the containment unit housing Justin began to emit a high-pitched whine. The team gathered around, watching helplessly as Justin's body convulsed within the chamber, his skin alternating between a sickly pallor and an otherworldly glow. Dr. Reeves' voice crackled over their comms, heavy with concern. "His system is destabilizing rapidly. We need to locate Xena immediately, or we might lose them both." Lyra closed her eyes, her skin rippling with concentration as she extended her Ithorian senses. After a tense moment, her eyes snapped open. "I can feel traces of Xena's neural signature," she announced. "It's faint, but it's coming from there." She pointed towards a massive, pulsating formation in the distance. As they approached, the structure revealed itself to be an enormous, bioluminescent flower, its petals undulating with waves of ethereal light. The team quickly established a perimeter around the energy flower, setting up the modified containment unit designed to extract Xena. As they activated the device, the petals of the formation began to react, parting slightly to reveal glimpses of a human form within its core. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath their feet. The team watched in astonishment as dozens of the evolved Zephyrian creatures emerged from the surrounding landscape. These beings, a seamless blend of organic matter and living crystal, formed a protective circle around the energy flower. Admiral Zorax stepped forward, his skin pulsing with complex patterns of light as he attempted to communicate with the creatures. The air filled with a dazzling display of bioluminescence as the Admiral and the Zephyrians exchanged signals. Lyra's eyes widened as she interpreted the exchange. "They're warning us," she explained. "They believe that removing Xena from the planet's neural network could have catastrophic consequences for Zephyria's transformation." Before the team could formulate a response, Justin's containment unit let out a sharp, alarm-like sound. The chamber's systems were failing, unable to sustain his rapidly changing physiology. Commander Morales surveyed the situation, her mind racing through their limited options. With a grim expression, she made her decision. "Release him," she ordered. "It's our only chance to save him now." As the containment unit hissed open, Justin's body rose into the air, suspended by an unseen force. His skin blazed with an intense, otherworldly light as he was drawn towards the energy flower. The Zephyrian creatures, sensing the connection between Justin and Xena, parted to create a path for him. The moment Justin made contact with the energy flower, its petals unfurled completely, revealing Xena suspended within its core. Their transformed bodies began to emit synchronized pulses of energy, creating a mesmerizing light show that illuminated the entire area. The team watched in awe as Justin and Xena's forms merged within the energy field, their hybrid physiologies adapting and combining in ways that defied comprehension. The fusion triggered a massive surge of energy that rippled across the planet's surface, causing the landscape around them to transform at an unprecedented rate. New life forms sprouted and evolved in a matter of seconds. Trees with crystalline leaves erupted from the ground, their branches reaching towards the alien sky. Creatures that seemed to exist in multiple states of matter simultaneously scurried across the rapidly changing terrain. Lyra's eyes widened with realization. They've become a catalyst for Zephyria's final stage of transformation, she exclaimed. Their merged consciousness is acting as a central processor for the planet's evolution. As the energy surge began to subside, Justin and Xena's merged forms started to separate. They emerged from the energy field, their bodies now a perfect blend of human and Ithorian characteristics. Their skin shimmered with intricate bioluminescent patterns, and their eyes glowed with an otherworldly intelligence. When they spoke, their voices resonated with a harmony that seemed to echo through the very fabric of the planet. "We understand now," they said in unison, their words carrying the weight of newfound knowledge. "We are the guardians of Zephyria's new ecosystem." Justin and Xena explained that they now possess the ability to control and direct the planet's transformation, ensuring a balance between all life forms, including the human and Ithorian settlers. However, this power came with a heavy burden. They could not return to the settlement permanently, as their presence was required to guide the ongoing evolution of the planet's ecosystem. As the implications of this development sank in, the team began to formulate a plan. They proposed establishing outposts across the planet, staffed by both humans and Ithorians, to serve as liaison points between the settlers and Zephyria's new guardians. With their mission drastically altered but not abandoned, the team prepared for their return journey to the settlement. As they set out, the landscape around them continued to shift and change, a vivid reminder of the challenges and wonders that lay ahead in this brave new world. The path back to the settlement stretched before them, winding through a terrain that was both familiar and alien. With each step, they moved closer to a future that would redefine the relationship between two species and a planet awakened to new possibilities. Possibilities. As they pressed on, the landscape continued to shift and morph, a vivid reminder of the new world they were stepping into. Upon their return to the settlement, the team wasted no time in setting their plans into motion. Commander Morales and Admiral Zorax took charge of establishing a network of outposts across Zephyria's transformed terrain. These stations would serve as vital links between the settlers and the planet's new guardians. Justin and Xena, now symbiotically linked to Zephyria's consciousness, found themselves settling into their roles as stewards of this evolving ecosystem. Their hybrid forms allowed them to perceive and interact with the planet in ways that transcended normal human or Ithorian understanding. As they stood atop a crystalline spire overlooking a vast expanse of the transformed landscape, Justin turned to Xena. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said, his skin pulsing with a soft, azure glow. Xena nodded, her own bioluminescent patterns swirling in harmony with Justin's. "And terrifying," she added. "We have so much responsibility now." Their hands intertwined, and a surge of sensation flowed between them. It was more than just touch. It was a melding of minds, a sharing of perceptions that went beyond words. Through this connection, they could feel the planet's rhythms, the ebb and flow of its newly awakened neural network. As the days passed, Justin and Xena's bond deepened. Their unique physiology allowed them to experience intimacy on a level that defied conventional understanding. When they embraced, their bioluminescent patterns would synchronize, creating dazzling light shows that rippled across their skin. Their shared sensory experiences transcended physical boundaries, allowing them to perceive the world through each other's eyes. This closeness manifested in their ability to shape the environment around them. Working in tandem, they created safe zones for the human and Ithorian settlers to expand their territory. With a mere thought, they could stabilize pockets of atmosphere or cultivate new plant species capable of sustaining both races. During one such creation session, Justin closed his eyes, concentrating on the task at hand. The ground before them began to shimmer and pulse with energy. Slowly, a new form of vegetation emerged, a hybrid plant with leaves that sparkled like crystal and roots that pulsed with bioluminescent energy. This should provide nutrients for both humans and Ithorians, Xena observed, her skin flickering with pride and excitement. Their demonstrations of power helped ease tensions between the two species. Humans and Athorians alike watched in awe as Justin and Xena reshaped the landscape, creating habitable zones and resources that benefited all. This shared wonder fostered a spirit of cooperation that began to bridge the gap between the two cultures. However, the newfound harmony was short-lived. Deep beneath Zephyria's surface, an ancient Athorian defense system stirred to life. Its activation sent a shudder through the planet's neural network, a disturbance that Justin and Xena felt immediately. "Something's wrong," Justin said, his skin pulsing with alarmed patterns. "Can you feel it?" Xena nodded, her expression grim. "It's coming from below. Something old and powerful." As they focused their senses on the disturbance, massive energy shields began to form around key Athorian archaeological sites. The shields shimmered into existence, cutting off access to vital resources and threatening to isolate portions of the settled areas. Alarms blared across the settlement as the shields expanded. Commander Morales' voice crackled over the comm system. "All personnel be advised. We're detecting massive energy fluctuations across the planet. Stand by for further instructions." Justin and Xena shared a look of tenacity. Without a word, they set off towards the source of the disturbance, their bodies moving in perfect synchronization as they navigated the ever-changing landscape. As they approached the primary control hub of the defense system, they encountered a sight that made them pause. Silicon-based creatures, previously unseen on Zephyria, emerged from the ground. These beings moved with an eerie grace, their crystalline forms catching and refracting the light. They're extensions of the defense system, Xena realized, her skin pulsing with rapid patterns as she processed this new information. The silicon creatures turned their faceted heads towards Justin and Xena, their movements suddenly becoming more aggressive. It was clear they viewed the hybrid couple as anomalies, threats to be contained and studied. Justin and Xena found themselves surrounded, the silicon beings closing in from all sides. They pressed their backs together, their skin pulsing with synchronized patterns of light as they prepared to defend themselves. "We need to find a way to communicate with them," Justin said, his voice tense but controlled. Xena nodded, her mind already reaching out through their connection to Zephyria's neural network. "Let's show them we're not a threat," she suggested. Together, they focused their energy, projecting a harmonious pattern of light and thought towards the silicon creatures. For a moment, the beings hesitated, their crystalline forms vibrating in response to the unexpected input. But before Justin and Xena could press their advantage, a surge of energy from the defense system pulsed through the creatures. Their hesitation vanished, replaced by a single-minded dedication to capture the hybrid couple. As the silicon beings lunged forward, Justin and Xena leaped into action. They moved as one, their hybrid abilities allowing them to manipulate the environment around them. Crystalline barriers erupted from the ground, momentarily holding back their pursuers. "We need to reach the control hub," Xena said, her skin flashing with urgency. Justin nodded, already scanning their surroundings for a path forward. "This way," he said, pointing towards a narrow ravine that had just formed in the shifting landscape. They sprinted towards the opening, the sound of the silicon creatures in close pursuit. As they ran, the world around them continued to change and evolve, presenting new challenges with every step. The race to the heart of the ancient Athorian defense system had begun, with the fate of Zephyria's fragile peace hanging in the balance. Justin and Xena pressed on, their hybrid forms a bridge between worlds, carrying the hopes of two species and an entire planet on their shoulders. As they raced through the ever-shifting landscape, Justin and Xena's minds raced with possibilities for overcoming the ancient defense system. Suddenly, Justin stumbled, his skin flashing with surprise. Xena caught him, steadying his balance. "What is it?" she asked, her own bioluminescent patterns pulsing with concern. Justin's eyes widened. I think I just manipulated time, he said, his voice filled with awe. For a second, everything around us moved faster. Xena's skin rippled with excitement. Let's try it together, she suggested, interlacing her fingers with Justin's. They focused their energy, drawing upon their deep connection to Zephyria's neural network. The air around them shimmered, and a small bubble of accelerated time formed. Within it, a barren patch of ground erupted with life. Plants sprouted, grew, and flourished in a matter of seconds. Incredible, Xena breathed, her skin pulsing with vibrant patterns of joy and wonder. Justin nodded, his own bioluminescence synchronizing with Xena's. This could change everything for the colony, he said. Over the next few days, Justin and Xena honed their newfound ability. They created pockets of accelerated time throughout the settlement, rapidly growing new plant species that could sustain both humans and Ithorians. Lush oases sprang up in previously barren areas, providing new focal points for outpost expansion. Their intimate moments now had a tangible impact on the surrounding landscape. As they embraced, sharing their deepest emotions, vibrant flora and fauna burst into existence around them, a physical manifestation of their bond. Commander Morales watched in amazement as the colony's food supply grew exponentially. You two have outdone yourselves, she said, her voice filled with gratitude. However, their period of growth and prosperity was interrupted by a startling development. Alarms blared across the settlement, and Morales' voice crackled over the comm system. All personnel be advised. We're detecting a massive energy anomaly on the planet's surface. Stand by for further instructions. Justin and Xena shared a look of concern before racing to the command center. There, they found Morales and Admiral Zorax studying a holographic display of the anomaly, a swirling vortex of energy, eerily similar to the one that had brought Justin to Zephyria. We need to investigate this immediately, Morales declared. Dr. Reeves, Lyra, I want you to lead a joint human-Ithorian expedition team to study the anomaly. As the team prepared for their mission, Justin and Xena felt a pull through their connection to Zephyria's neural network. We need to go with them, Justin said, his skin pulsing with urgency. The expedition set out, their vehicles navigating the transformed terrain with practiced ease. As they approached the anomaly, Dr. Reeves's eyes widened in surprise. These energy signatures. They're familiar, she said, studying her instruments. They match Earth Alliance technology. The team's excitement grew as they realized this could be a potential link to their home worlds. Upon reaching the site, they discovered the anomaly was actually a highly advanced portal system, left behind by an ancient spacefaring race that once visited Zephyria. It seems to be reactivating due to the changes in the planet's energy field, Lyra observed, her tentacles waving with excitement. Before they could investigate further, a surge of energy caused the portal to activate fully. The swirling vortex stabilized, revealing a shimmering gateway. Suddenly, a group of figures emerged from the portal. Justin and Xena gasped in unison, their skin flashing with shock. The newcomers were a mix of humans and Ithorians, wearing uniforms that indicated they were part of an advanced, joint space exploration program. One of the arrivals, a tall human with piercing blue eyes, stepped forward. I am Captain Elias Thorne of the Earth-Ithorian Alliance Starship Horizon, he announced. We've been searching for you for years. As Captain Thorne explained the timeline divergence caused by Justin's arrival on Zephyria and its far-reaching effects, the expedition team listened in awe. The cooperation between humans and Ithorians on Zephyria had served as a catalyst for a more harmonious future, accelerating technological progress and interspecies relations. However, the captain's expression grew grave as he delivered troubling news. The activation of Zephyria's ancient defenses and the subsequent energy surges have attracted unwanted attention, he said. An aggressive alien empire known as the Vextar has been detected approaching the system. Their fleet is capable of strip mining entire planets. The gravity of the situation sank in. Justin and Xena shared a look of dedication, their skin pulsing with synchronized patterns of drive. They knew their unique connection to Zephyria and their hybrid abilities would be crucial in the coming conflict. As the group returned to the settlement to brief Commander Morales and Admiral Zorax, Justin and Xena found themselves at the center of a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the Earth-Athorian Alliance team brought both opportunities and challenges. Advanced technology and knowledge flooded into the colony, but integrating the newcomers into the existing social structure posed potential conflicts. Justin and Xena worked tirelessly, using their ability to manipulate Zephyria's environment to help integrate the new Alliance technology with the planet's neural network. Their intimate bond evolved further as they interfaced with these advanced systems, creating a powerful defensive grid around the planet. As preparations for the impending confrontation with the Vexstar intensified, Justin turned to Xena, their hands intertwined. Their skin pulsed with a complex array of colors, reflecting the mix of emotions they felt: fear, drive, and above all, love. "Whatever happens," Justin said softly, "we face it together." Xena nodded, her eyes shimmering with an otherworldly light. "Together," she agreed, her voice resonating with the strength of their bond. As the first signs of the Vexstar fleet appeared on long-range scanners, the colony mobilized. Justin and Xena stood at the heart of Zephyria's defenses. Their hybrid forms a bridge between worlds, ready to defend their transformed home against the coming storm. As the colony braced for the impending invasion, Justin and Xena found themselves at the center of Zephyria's defense strategy. Captain Thorne approached the couple, his eyes reflecting a mix of hope and urgency. "Your unique abilities may be our best chance," he said, gesturing for them to follow him to the command center. Inside, holographic displays flickered with data streams and tactical projections. Dr. Reeves and Lyra huddled over a console, their fingers flying across the interface. "We need to integrate our Alliance technology with Zephyria's neural network," Thorne explained. "And you two are the key to making that happen." Justin and Xena exchanged a determined look, their skin pulsing with synchronized patterns of light. They stepped forward, placing their hands on the central interface. As they connected with the system, they felt the familiar rush of Zephyria's consciousness intertwining with their own. Hours blurred into days as they worked tirelessly, their hybrid physiology allowing them to channel and direct the planet's energy with unprecedented efficiency. The colony buzzed with activity, Alliance engineers and Zephyrian settlers working side by side to construct a planetary shield. During a rare moment of respite, Justin and Xena retreated to their quarters. As they embraced, their skin flickering with patterns of exhaustion and affection, they noticed something extraordinary. The plants around them grew visibly, responding to the energy generated by their intimate connection. Dr. Reeves burst into the room, her eyes wide with excitement. "We've detected a significant energy spike," she exclaimed, then paused, taking in the scene. "Oh, I see. This is fascinating." The discovery led to the development of specialized chambers where Justin and Xena could safely channel their energy into the planetary shield. Their intimate moments now served a dual purpose, strengthening both their bond and Zephyria's defenses. As the shield neared completion, a new challenge emerged. The silicon-based life forms, originally reprogrammed as guardians, began to evolve rapidly. Commander Morales reported increasing incidents of the creatures questioning orders and exhibiting signs of higher intelligence. Dr. Reeves and Lyra proposed a bold solution. "We need to create a hybrid intelligence system," Lyra explained, her tentacles waving with excitement. "Combining the processing power of the silicon life forms with Zephyria's organic neural network. And we want you two to oversee it," Dr. Reeves added, looking at Justin and Xena. The procedure to integrate nanoscale silicon components into their nervous systems was risky, but the couple agreed without hesitation. They lay side by side in the medical bay, Their hands intertwined as the medical team began the delicate process. When they awoke, the world had changed. Energy flowed visibly around them, a constant stream of data and sensations flooding their enhanced senses. They could feel every pulse of the planetary shield, every fluctuation in Zephyria's core. As they adjusted to their new abilities, the colony's defenses continued to grow. Captain Thorne oversaw the construction of orbital platforms, creating a layered defense system that Justin and Xena could manipulate with mere thoughts. The day they had all been preparing for finally arrived. Long-range sensors blared as the Vexstar fleet entered the system. The massive ships, jam-packed with resource-harvesting equipment, filled the view screens of the command center. In the tense silence that followed, Justin turned to Xena. Their eyes met, a wordless communication passing between them. Xena nodded, and they faced the assembled leaders. "We want to try communicating with them," Justin said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Captain Thorne frowned. "It's too risky. We don't know their intentions." "We're uniquely positioned to bridge the gap," Xena countered. "Our hybrid physiology, our connection to Zephyria, and the new AI network. We might be able to find common ground." After heated debate, the colony leaders reluctantly agreed. Justin and Xena were led to a specially designed communication chamber. As they entered, the room hummed with energy, responding to their presence. They lay down on the central platform, their bodies intertwining. As their minds merged with Zephyria's neural network and the hybrid AI system, they reached out across the vast emptiness of space. The first contact with the Vexstar consciousness hit them like a tidal wave. Alien thoughts and images flooded their minds, threatening to overwhelm them. Justin gripped Xena tighter, their shared strength keeping them anchored as they pushed deeper into the alien mindscape. Through the chaos, they began to discern patterns, fragments of communication. The Vexstar were not a single entity, but a collective of disparate minds, driven by an insatiable hunger for resources. Justin and Xena pressed on, their hybrid minds stretching to their limits as they sought to establish meaningful contact. The fate of Zephyria hung in the balance as they delved deeper into the alien consciousness, searching for a way to bridge the gap between two vastly different species. As they navigated the complex labyrinth of Vexstar thoughts, Justin and Xena realized that their journey had only just begun. The true challenge lay ahead. Finding a way to communicate, understand, and potentially change the course of an interstellar conflict that threatened not just Zephyria, but the entire galaxy. As Justin and Xena's minds stretched across the vast expanse of space, they braced themselves for the unknown. The initial contact with the Vexstar consciousness hit them like a supernova. Their senses exploded with alien thoughts and images, a cacophony of information threatening to tear their minds apart. Justin's grip on Xena tightened, their physical connection anchoring them as they struggled to process the overwhelming influx. Slowly, their hybrid minds adapted. The chaos began to coalesce into discernible patterns, alien yet increasingly comprehensible. Through their unique bond, Justin and Xena managed to stabilize the mental link with the Vexstar collective. As understanding dawned, surprise rippled through their joined consciousness. The Vexstar weren't the mindless aggressors they had feared. Instead, they sensed a civilization driven by desperate need, their vast fleet a response to dwindling resources that threatened their very existence. Seizing the opportunity, Justin and Xena began to share. They projected vivid images of Zephyria, its lush landscapes, the harmony between species, the miraculous transformation they had witnessed. They conveyed the emotions tied to these memories: wonder, joy, and a deep sense of belonging. Their physical intimacy intensified as they delved deeper into the exchange. Energy pulsed through their hybrid bodies, resonating with Zephyria's neural network. The communication chamber hummed, plants sprouting and blooming around them in response to the surging power. This amplified their mental projection, creating an immersive experience for the Vexstar. Justin and Xena felt the alien consciousness shift, initial aggression giving way to fascination. We can help each other. Justin's thoughts merged with Xena's as they addressed the Vexstar. Zephyria has unique energy production methods. We can share this knowledge, provide the resources you need without destruction. Xena's mind seamlessly continued. In exchange, we seek your advanced technology and knowledge to protect and nurture our world. They sensed the Vexstar collective contemplating their proposal. The massive fleet held position at the system's edge, a tense stillness falling over Zephyria. As they waited, Justin and Xena became aware of changes around them. Their prolonged connection, fueled by intense emotions and energy, was affecting Zephyria itself. New plant species erupted from the chamber floor, their patterns and colors shifting in tune with the complex exchange of thoughts. Dr. Reeves' voice cut through their mental link, tinged with awe and concern. The effects are spreading beyond the chamber. We're seeing unprecedented growth and mutation across the planet's flora. Before they could respond, the hybrid intelligence system alerted them to a surge of activity within the Vexstar fleet. Justin and Xena watched in amazement as the massive ships began to reconfigure. Weapon systems and harvesting equipment retracting and reshaping into structures more suited for research and diplomacy. The change was mirrored in the Vexstar's collective mind. The drive for resources remained, but it was tempered now by curiosity and a genuine desire for peaceful exchange. We accept your proposal. The alien thoughts resonated through their mental link. Our people have long sought alternatives to our current methods. Your world intrigues us. A flood of data suddenly poured through the connection. Justin and Xena's hybrid physiology allowed them to act as living conduits, channeling vast amounts of Vexstar's scientific and technological knowledge directly into Zephyria's neural network. The strain was immense. Justin felt as if his body was being pulled apart at the molecular level. Beside him, Xena's form flickered, momentarily shifting between solid matter and pure energy. Justin, Xena, you need to disengage. Captain Thorne's voice was urgent. Your bodies can't handle this level of data transfer. They knew he was right. The warning signs were clear: molecular instability, the risk of permanent damage. But the potential benefits for Zephyria, for both their peoples, drove them to push further. Just a little more, Justin ground out, his voice barely audible over the hum of energy surrounding them. Xena's hand tightened around his, her thoughts intertwining with his own. Together, they forced themselves to endure to complete the transfer. In a final, blinding surge of energy, the last of the Vexstar knowledge integrated into Zephyria's systems. Justin felt a moment of triumph before darkness claimed him, his body dissolving into a semi-corporeal state. He awoke to the steady beep of medical equipment, his vision blurry as it adjusted to the soft blue glow surrounding him. A stasis pod, he realized. Beside him, Xena floated in a similar container, her form shimmering between solid and energy states. Dr. Reeves' face appeared above him, her expression a mix of concern and cautious optimism. "Welcome back," she said softly. "You two gave us quite a scare." Justin tried to speak, but found he couldn't form words. Dr. Reeves seemed to understand, continuing. "The molecular destabilization was severe, but we're making progress. The Vexstar have actually been quite helpful in adapting their technology to aid your recovery." As his senses slowly returned, Justin became aware of changes beyond the medical bay. Through his connection to Zephyria's neural network, he could feel the planet humming with new energy. Upgraded defense systems, accelerated ecosystem evolution, new hybrid species emerging. The fruits of their sacrifice were already manifesting. In orbit, he sensed the Vexstar fleet, no longer a threat but a presence full of potential. A new chapter was beginning for Zephyria, for all of them. Justin's gaze drifted to Xena's pod. Though still unstable, He could feel her consciousness reaching out to his. Their journey was far from finished, but whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, as they always had. Their bodies might have changed, but their love and commitment remained unshakable. As Justin's consciousness fully returned, he became acutely aware of the profound changes in his body. The steady hum of energy coursing through his veins felt both familiar and alien. He turned his head, his gaze meeting Xena's. Her eyes, now with a subtle metallic sheen, reflected the same mixture of wonder and uncertainty he felt. Dr. Reeves approached, her face a mask of professional calm tinged with excitement. "How are you feeling?" she asked, running a series of scans on their stasis pods. Justin tried to speak, but instead of words, a burst of colorful energy rippled across his skin. Xena reached out, her hand phasing through the pod to intertwine with his. The moment their fingers touched, a surge of shared thoughts and emotions flowed between them. "It's overwhelming," Xena communicated, her voice resonating directly in their minds. "But we're okay." Over the next few days, Justin and Xena underwent a battery of tests and exercises designed to help them acclimate to their new physiology. They learned to control the energy fluctuations in their bodies, their skin gradually solidifying into a shimmering, adaptive surface. As they regained strength, Dr. Reeves and Lyra briefed them on the monumental changes that had occurred during their weeks in stasis. The colony had undergone a dramatic transformation, with Vexstar technology seamlessly integrated into every aspect of life on Zephyria. "You need to see this for yourselves," Lyra said, her tentacles gesturing excitedly as she led them to a viewing platform. Justin and Xena stepped out onto the platform, and their breath caught in their throats. The landscape before them was almost unrecognizable. Gleaming towers of hybrid Earth Vexstar designs stretched towards the sky, their surfaces alive with pulsing energy patterns. In the distance, they could see the massive energy collectors rising from the desert, their crystalline structures refracting sunlight in dazzling displays. But it was the plant life that truly captured their attention. The once familiar flora had evolved into extraordinary new forms. Trees with leaves that shifted colors like living screens, flowers that opened and closed in response to the colony's energy needs, and vines that grew in perfect geometric patterns. "It's beautiful," Justin whispered, his words carrying a weight of emotion that rippled through the nearby plants, causing them to sway and change color in response. Xena squeezed his hand, her thoughts merging with his. "We did this," she said, awe and a hint of trepidation in her mental voice. Captain Thorne joined them on the platform, his usual stoic demeanor softened by a smile. "Welcome back," he said. "We've got a lot to catch you up on." Over the next few weeks, Justin and Xena immersed themselves in learning about the new Zephyria. They met with Vexstar scientists, marveling at the advanced laboratories where Earth, Ithorian, and Vexstar researchers work side by side. The silicon-based life forms, now fully sentient and integrated into the colony's operations, greeted them with a mixture of reverence and curiosity. As they explored the floating cities, Justin and Xena discovered the full extent of their new abilities. With a thought, they could interface with any of the colony's systems, accessing vast databases of information or adjusting environmental controls. Their intimate moments now had far-reaching consequences, triggering bursts of accelerated growth in nearby plant life and causing subtle shifts in Zephyria's energy grid. "We need to learn control," Xena said one evening as they watched a new species of luminescent flower bloom in response to their shared emotions. Justin nodded, running his hand along a nearby wall and feeling the thrum of the colony's systems beneath his fingers. "It's like being connected to everything at once. Exhilarating, but terrifying," Xena finished, understanding flowing between them. Their training intensified. Guided by a team of specialists, including Dr. Reeves, Lyra, and Vexstar experts, they learned to modulate their impact on Zephyria's neural network, to channel their energy in precise, controlled bursts, and to communicate with the various life forms that now called the planet home. As their skills grew, so did their responsibilities. Justin and Xena found themselves at the center of delicate negotiations between the different factions on Zephyria. Their unique perspective as hybrids of multiple species made them ideal mediators. In one particularly tense meeting, they sat across from a group of newly arrived Earth colonists who were struggling to adapt to life alongside the Vexstar and the evolved silicon life forms. "We understand your concerns," Justin said, his skin rippling with calming blue patterns. "Change isn't easy, especially on this scale." Xena continued seamlessly. "But look at what we've achieved together." She gestured, and a holographic display sprang to life, showing the rapid advancements in medicine, energy production, and quality of life on Zephyria. As the meeting progressed, Justin and Xena's empathic abilities allowed them to sense the shift in the colonists' emotions, from fear and suspicion to cautious optimism. It was a small victory, but an important one in the ongoing process of building a truly integrated society. 42 days after their awakening, Justin and Xena prepared for their most ambitious undertaking yet, a planet-wide tour to assess and stabilize Zephyr's evolving ecosystem. They stood at the entrance to a sleek Vexstar transport, its organic curves blending seamlessly with Earth engineering. Dr. Reeves approached, handing them a final set of data pads. "Remember, your goal is observation and minimal intervention," she said. "We still don't fully understand the long-term effects of your abilities on the environment." Justin and Xena nodded, the weight of their responsibility clear. As they boarded the transport, they shared a look of tenacity and excitement. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, their bond the key to Zephyria's future. The transport's doors sealed, and with a silent pulse of energy, it rose into the air. Justin and Xena linked hands, their shared consciousness expanding to encompass the vehicle as they set course for their first destination, the transformed oceans of Zephyria. As the coastline came into view, they gasped in unison. The once familiar waters now shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, while strange, hybrid creatures breached the surface. It was just the beginning of their journey, a first step into the unknown wonders of their changed world. As they soared over the transformed landscape, Justin and Xena marveled at the ever-changing tapestry below them. Their first stop brought them to a newly formed coastal region, where the advanced terraforming techniques had worked wonders. As the transport touched down, they stepped out onto a vast, crystalline beach that stretched as far as the eye could see. The sand beneath their feet shimmered with a metallic hue, a testament to the seamless integration of Vexstar technology with Zephyria's native minerals. "It's incredible," Justin breathed, kneeling to run his fingers through the glittering grains. He could feel the subtle vibrations of energy coursing through the beach, a pulse that seemed to resonate with his own hybrid physiology. Xena nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon where the iridescent sea met the sky. "We should spend a few days here," she suggested. "This ecosystem at the intersection of land and sea. It's unlike anything we've seen before." They set up a temporary research station, their equipment a blend of Earth technology and Vexstar bioorganic interfaces. As night fell, Justin and Xena found themselves drawn to each other, the day's discoveries fueling their passion. Their intimate moments, once private, now had far-reaching consequences. In the morning, they awoke to find the water teeming with new life. Schools of bioluminescent fish, their bodies a striking fusion of Earth, Ithorian, and Vexstar characteristics, darted through the waves. Justin waded into the shallows, his hand brushing against one of the creatures. In that moment of contact, he sensed its remarkable adaptability. These new hybrids could thrive in both salt and freshwater environments. "Xena, look at this," he called out, his excitement causing ripples of energy to dance across his skin. She joined him in the water, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's as if our presence accelerated their evolution," she mused, carefully documenting the new species with a holographic recorder. Their influence wasn't limited to the marine life. Along the shoreline, patches of iridescent seaweed sprouted rapidly, forming natural breakwaters that protected the newly formed beach from erosion. The couple spent hours studying these changes, transmitting their findings back to the scientific team at the main settlement. As the sun began to set on their third day at the coast, a priority message flashed across their communications array. Captain Thorne's face appeared, his expression a mix of curiosity and concern. "Justin, Xena, we received reports from a group of Earth-Athorian colonists in the northern mountain range," he began. "They're describing some unusual phenomena, metallic structures emerging from the rock face, resembling a blend of Vexdar architecture and organic growth. We need you to investigate." Justin and Xena exchanged glances, their minds already racing with possibilities. "We're on it, Captain," Xena replied. "We'll head there immediately." As they prepared for departure, Justin focused his energy, manipulating matter at the molecular level to create a temporary floating platform. It was a taxing process, but the result was a sleek, efficient mode of transportation that would get them to the mountains quickly. The journey took them over vast stretches of transformed landscape. Forests of hybrid trees reached towards the sky, their leaves shimmering with data patterns. Rivers glowed with bioluminescent algae, tracing veins of light across the continent. As they approached the mountain range, the reported phenomena came into view. Gleaming metallic structures protruded from the rocky slopes, their surfaces alive with pulsing energy. Justin guided their platform to a landing near one of the largest formations. Up close, the structures were even more awe-inspiring. They seemed to be growing out of the mountain itself, a perfect fusion of technology and nature. As Justin and Xena approached, their hybrid physiology allowed them to sense the complex systems at work within the structures. "These aren't just random growths," Justin realized, his hand hovering over the metallic surface. "They're ships, Vexdar seed ships." Xena's eyes widened in understanding. Of course, a previous expedition, perhaps thousands of years ago. They must have left these ships behind, dormant until the right conditions arose. Without hesitation, they pressed their palms against the exposed hull of the nearest seed ship. Their unique abilities allowed them to interface directly with the vessel systems, accessing ancient data banks and activation protocols. "They were waiting," Justin murmured, his mind awash with information, "waiting for specific planetary conditions before activating. Our actions, the changes we've made to Zephyria, we've inadvertently triggered their awakening." The implications were staggering. These seed ships, filled with advanced Vexdar technology and knowledge, could dramatically alter Zephyria's already precarious balance. Justin and Xena knew they had to act quickly. "We need to repurpose them," Xena said, her voice filled with willpower. "Integrate them into Zephyria's neural network. It's the only way to ensure they don't disrupt everything we built." Justin nodded, understanding the enormity of the task ahead. "It won't be easy. The amount of energy required. It could push our hybrid physiology to its limits." They positioned themselves on either side of the seed ship, their hands pressed firmly against its hull. As they began to channel energy into the vessel, the strain was immediately apparent. Their skin flickered between solid and energy states, the effort of molecular manipulation taking its toll. Around them, the mountain itself began to respond. More seed ships emerged from the rock, their systems awakening and adapting to the changes Justin and Xena were initiating. The entire range seemed to come alive, developing biomechanical properties that allowed for more efficient resource distribution across Zephyria's ecosystem. Hours passed as they worked tirelessly, their consciousness stretched to its limits as they guided the integration process. The once dormant seed ships were slowly incorporated into Zephyria's systems, their ancient technology merging with the planet's new paradigm. As the final connections were made, Justin and Xena collapsed to the ground, their bodies shimmering with exhaustion. They watched in awe as the mountain range reshaped itself before their eyes. Vast chambers formed within the rock, creating new habitable spaces that seamlessly blended organic and technological elements. "We did it," Xena whispered, her voice weak but filled with wonder. Justin squeezed her hand, feeling the pulse of Zephyria's enhanced systems flowing through them both. "Yes, but this is just the beginning. These new spaces, this technology, it's going to change everything." As they prepared to contact Captain Thorne and report their findings, Justin and Xena knew that their discovery would have far-reaching implications for Zephyria's future. The integration of these ancient Vexstar artifacts had opened up new possibilities for research, habitation, and further evolution of their hybrid world. With renewed purpose, they began to plan their next steps. The transformed mountain range was just one piece of a much larger puzzle, one that they were now more equipped than ever to solve. As the sun set over the gleaming peaks, Justin and Xena stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their ever-changing home. As the sun set over the gleaming peaks, Justin and Xena stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their ever-changing home. Their journey back to the main settlement was swift, the landscape below them a blur of vibrant colors and pulsing energy. As they approached, they could sense the buzz of activity and anticipation. Word of their discovery had spread quickly. The moment they touched down, they were met by a crowd of wide-eyed colonists. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the group as they took in Justin and Xena's altered appearances. Justin's skin now shimmered with a metallic sheen, intricate patterns shifting across its surface like living circuitry. Xena's bioluminescent glow had intensified, pulsing in perfect synchronization with the energy fluctuations they could feel coursing through Zephyria. Captain Thorne pushed through the crowd, his face a mixture of awe and concern. "We need to debrief immediately," he said, gesturing for them to follow. In the colony's command center, Justin and Xena recounted their experiences with the Vexstar seed ships and the transformation of the mountain range. As they spoke, holographic displays sprang to life, showing the extent of the changes they had initiated. The integration of this ancient technology could revolutionize our entire approach to colonization, Dr. Reeves said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. A team of Earth-Athorian scientists stepped forward, presenting a proposal that had clearly been in development since the first reports came in. "We believe we can take this further," the lead scientist explained. "By creating a network of biomechanical nodes across Zephyria's surface, we could achieve unprecedented levels of resource distribution and environmental control." Justin and Xena exchanged a look, their shared consciousness already exploring the possibilities. "We'll oversee the implementation," they said in unison, their voices harmonizing in a way that sent shivers through the room. Over the next few weeks, Justin and Xena embarked on a series of expeditions to establish the biomechanical nodes. At each location, they worked in perfect synchronization, their abilities amplified by their intimate bond. On a windswept plain, Justin manipulated the molecular structure of the soil, coaxing it to form crystalline structures that pulse with energy. Xena, her hands hovering above the ground, wove tendrils of bioluminescent flora into the framework, creating a living circuit that connected to Zephyria's core. "It's responding faster than we anticipated," Justin observed, feeling the surge of power through his transformed body. Xena nodded, her eyes glowing with intensity. "The planet itself is adapting, learning from our interventions." As they moved from site to site, the changes to Zephyria's ecosystem became more pronounced. In their wake, hybrid plant species sprouted from once barren soil, their growth visible to the naked eye. Entire ecosystems sprang up overnight, transforming vast stretches of the planet into lush, habitable zones. The rapid transformation did not go unnoticed. A sleek, otherworldly vessel entered Zephyria's atmosphere, its design unmistakably Vexstar. As it touched down outside the main settlement, a delegation of senior Vexstar officials emerged. Justin and Xena were called upon to greet the visitors, their hybrid nature making them ideal intermediaries. As they approached, they could sense the mix of curiosity and apprehension emanating from both the colonists and the Vexstar. "Welcome to Zephyria," Justin said, his skin rippling with patterns that the Vexstar seemed to find fascinating. Xena continued, "We're honored by your presence and eager to share our progress." The lead Vexstar official, a towering figure with iridescent skin, inclined its head. "We have observed the changes from afar with great interest. Show us what you have accomplished." The tour of Zephyria's transformed regions left the Vexstar delegation visibly impressed. At each site, Justin and Xena demonstrated their abilities, manipulating the environment with a precision that even the advanced alien race found remarkable. The culmination of the tour came at a small, barren island off the coast of the main continent. Here, Justin and Xena decided to show the full extent of their powers. "Watch closely," Xena said, her voice carrying an electric charge. Together, they raised their hands, channeling the energy that flowed through them and the planet. The air shimmered with power as they began to reshape the island at the molecular level. Rock turned to soil, sprouting vegetation before their eyes. Streams formed, carving paths through the newly created landscape. Small animals, hybrid creations adapted to the unique conditions, emerged from the foliage. Within hours, the lifeless rock had become a thriving ecosystem, a microcosm of Zephyria's potential. The Vexstar officials conferred among themselves, their alien features impossible to read. Finally, their leader turned to Justin and Xena. "Your abilities far exceed our expectations," it said. "We propose a joint research initiative to explore their full potential. Our technology and expertise, combined with your unique physiology, could unlock secrets beyond our current understanding." As discussions began between the colony leadership and the Vexstar delegation, Justin and Xena returned to their work on the biomechanical node network. Their final destination was a remote mountain range where the integration of Vexstar technology had produced unexpected results. Massive crystal formations jutted from the mountainsides, their surfaces alive with pulsing energy. As Justin and Xena approached, they could feel the crystals resonating with Zephyria's core. "These are natural amplifiers," Justin realized, reaching out to touch one of the structures. The moment his hand made contact, a surge of energy coursed through him. Xena, connected to him through their bond, felt it too. The crystal structures began to glow with increasing intensity, the resonance building to a fever pitch. "Justin, we need to stabilize it," Xena shouted over the rising hum of power. They pressed their palms against the largest crystal, attempting to channel the energy safely. But the surge was too strong, too sudden. The biomechanical network they had created across the planet lit up like a web of lightning, overwhelmed by the massive influx of power. Justin and Xena felt their hybrid systems overloading, their bodies unable to process the immense energy flowing through them. As their consciousness began to fade, they reached for each other, their forms blurring at the edges. The last thing they saw before blackness took them was a crystalline structure forming around their bodies, encasing them in a cocoon of pulsing energy. Their final thoughts merged, a shared commitment to survive this latest transformation and return to the world they had helped create. As the crystal cocoon sealed shut, the mountain range trembled with unleashed power. The fate of Justin and Xena, and perhaps all of Zephyria, now hung in the balance, their bodies undergoing yet another evolution within their shimmering prison. The crystalline cocoon pulsed with energy, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light. For 3 days, it stood as a beacon of both hope and uncertainty atop the remote mountain range. The combined efforts of Earth Authorian scientists and Vexstar specialists worked tirelessly to stabilize the surrounding area, their advanced energy-dampening technology creating a protective bubble around the site. Dr. Alara Chun, the lead Earth Authorian xenobiologist, monitored the readings from her portable holodisplay. "Energy levels are finally stabilizing," she announced to the team. We should be able to breach the cocoon within the hour. The Vexstar chief scientist, Xandor, nodded in agreement. Its iridescent skin rippled with anticipation as it made final adjustments to the extraction equipment. Our simulations indicate a 98.7% chance of successful retrieval, it stated, its multifaceted eyes fixed on the cocoon. As the team made their final preparations, Captain Thorne paced nearby, his weathered face etched with concern. "Let's hope Justin and Xena are still in there," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. The moment of truth arrived. With surgical precision, the team activated a series of focused energy beams, carefully cutting through the crystalline structure. As the last section fell away, a rush of charged particles filled the air, causing the team's instruments to spark and flicker. Through the dissipating energy field, two figures emerged. Justin and Xena stood hand in hand, their bodies transformed beyond what anyone had anticipated. Their skin now resembled a living mosaic, organic tissue seamlessly blending with metallic elements that shifted and realigned with each movement. Beneath the surface, a network of bioluminescent filaments pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeats. "By the stars," Dr. Chin breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. Justin blinked, his gaze unfocused as he took in his surroundings. We can feel everything," he said, his voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. Xena nodded, her luminescent eyes scanning the assembled team. Zephyria's voice. "It's so clear now," she added, her words overlapping with Justin's in perfect harmony. As the couple took their first steps away from the remnants of the cocoon, their legs buckled. The Vexstar specialists rushed forward, supporting them with their multiple appendages. "Easy now," Xandor cautioned. "Your physiology has undergone significant changes. We need to get you to the medical facility for a full evaluation." The journey to the newly constructed medical center was a blur of sensation for Justin and Xena. Their enhanced senses picked up every minute detail of the transformed landscape around them. Trees pulsed with biomechanical energy, their leaves acting as natural solar panels. The very air seemed alive with data streams, invisible to others, but clear as day to the hybrid couple. Inside the facility, a marvel of combined Earth-Athorian and Vexstar medical technology, Justin and Xena underwent a battery of tests. Dr. Chin marveled at the results displayed on her holoscreen. "Their cellular structure has completely rewritten itself," she explained to Captain Thorne. "They're now capable of processing and channeling amounts of energy that would vaporize a normal human or a Thorian." Xandor added, its voice a melodic hum. "More importantly, they've developed a symbiotic link with Zephyria's biomechanical network. They are, in essence, living conduits for the planet's energy systems." As the days passed, Justin and Xena's recovery progressed at an astonishing rate. They spent hours in deep meditation, their minds exploring the vast network of energy that now coursed through their bodies and the planet itself. One morning, as the twin suns of Zephyria rose over the horizon, Justin's eyes snapped open. "Xena," he called out, his voice echoing in her mind despite her being in a separate room. "Can you feel that?" Xena's response came instantly, transmitted through their newfound mental link. "The northern continent. There's a storm system forming." Without a word spoken aloud, the couple focused their shared consciousness on the developing weather pattern. Through the biomechanical node network they had established, they reached out, gently nudging the flow of energy currents in the atmosphere. Dr. Chin burst into Justin's room, her holodisplay flashing with urgent data. "We're detecting massive atmospheric changes in the northern hemisphere," she began, but stopped short as she saw Justin's serene expression. "It's all right, Doctor," he said, a small smile playing on his lips. "We're redirecting the storm to the eastern deserts. They could use the rain." As news of Justin and Xena's enhanced abilities spread, the political landscape of Zephyria shifted. Captain Thorne found himself in lengthy negotiations with the Vexstar High Command, who saw the potential for unprecedented advancements in planetary engineering. In a packed assembly hall, representatives from all corners of the colony gathered to hear the Vexdar proposal. The alien delegation's leader, a towering figure named Zorax, addressed the crowd. "We offer our most advanced terraforming technology," Zorax announced, its voice resonating through the hall. "With it, we can accelerate Zephyria's transformation, creating a fully habitable world in a fraction of the time." A murmur of excitement rippled through the audience, but Captain Thorne raised a hand for silence. "And what do you ask in return?" he inquired, his tone cautious. Zorax's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "A permanent Vexdar presence on Zephyria, a base from which we can oversee the implementation of our technology and observe the unique developments occurring here." The assembly erupted into heated debate. Some colonists saw the offer as an unprecedented opportunity, while others feared the long-term consequences of allowing a permanent alien presence on their new home. As the arguments raged on, Justin and Xena stood quietly at the back of the hall, their hands intertwined. Through their enhanced senses, they could feel the ebb and flow of emotions in the room, the hopes and fears of their fellow colonists pulsing like a living entity. "We need to show them," Xena whispered, her thoughts merging with Justin's. He nodded, understanding perfectly. "It's time for a journey," he replied, both aloud and in their shared mental space. As the assembly continued to debate, the hybrid couple slipped out unnoticed. They had a planet to explore and a future to shape. The next chapter of Zephyria's transformation was about to begin, with Justin and Xena at its heart. As Justin and Xena slipped out of the assembly hall, they felt the pull of Zephyria's energy calling them. Their newfound connection to the planet urged them to explore, to understand, and to shape the world that was now as much a part of them as they were of it. They set out on their journey, traversing the transformed landscapes of Zephyria. Their path led them to a newly formed archipelago in the planet's equatorial region, a testament to the recent terraforming efforts. As they approached the cluster of islands, they marveled at the diversity of ecosystems packed into such a compact area. Landing on the largest island, Justin and Xena immediately interfaced with the local biomechanical nodes. Information flooded their senses as they gathered data on the evolving flora and fauna. "It's incredible," Xena breathed, her eyes wide as she processed the influx of information. "The rate of adaptation here is unlike anything we've seen before." Justin nodded, his skin shimmering with excitement. "The accelerated evolution is fascinating. But look there!" He pointed towards the island center, where a volcanic peak rose above the lush vegetation. At the summit, a cluster of crystalline structures jutted from the rock, eerily similar to those they had encountered in the mountain range where their latest transformation had occurred. As they drew closer, a low-frequency hum emanated from the crystals, resonating with their hybrid physiology. "Do you feel that?" Xena asked, her voice hushed with awe. Justin's response came through their mental link, a mixture of words and pure sensation. "It's amplifying our connection to each other, to Zephyria." Drawn by an irresistible force, they approached the crystal formation. Their skin patterns shifted and swirled, responding to the energy pulsing from the structures. With a shared look of perseverance, they reached out and made contact with the nearest crystal. The world exploded into vibrant energy. Justin and Xena gasped in unison as power surged through their bodies, temporarily magnifying their abilities to manipulate their surroundings. Without conscious thought, they channeled this energy into the island itself. The barren volcanic slopes burst into life. New hybrid plant species sprouted from the ground, maturing within minutes. Trees unfurled their leaves, reaching for the twin suns. The coastline reshaped itself, forming natural harbors where moments before there had been only jagged rocks. In the newly formed bays, coral reefs bloomed, teeming with bioluminescent marine life. As the initial surge of energy subsided, Justin and Xena found themselves changed once again. Their neural interfaces had synchronized to an unprecedented degree, allowing them to share not just thoughts, but sensations and emotions with startling clarity. Justin turned to Xena, his eyes wide with wonder. "I can feel everything you're feeling," he said, his voice filled with awe. Xena nodded, equally amazed. "It's like we're—" She trailed off, unable to find the words. As if in response to their deepened connection, their bodies began to shift. Where their hands touched, their skin seemed to merge, the boundaries between them blurring at a molecular level. They stood there, partially merged, marveling at the transformed landscape around them and the changes within themselves. The island, once a barren rock, now pulsed with life, a testament to the power they now wielded. In the distance, they saw a shuttle approaching, no doubt a response to the massive energy surge they had triggered. As the craft drew closer, they recognized the insignia of the research team. "Looks like we have company," Justin said, a hint of amusement in his voice. Xena smiled, her thoughts intertwining with his. "Good. There's so much to learn here, so much to understand." As the shuttle landed and Dr. Reeves and Lyra emerged, equipment in tow, Justin and Xena prepared themselves for the barrage of questions and tests that were sure to come. They knew that what had happened here, what they had become, would have far-reaching implications for the future of Zephyria and perhaps for humanity itself. The island around them continued to evolve, new species emerging and adapting before their eyes. Justin and Xena stood at the center of it all, their bodies resonating with the energy of the crystals. Their minds linked not just to each other, but to the very essence of the planet they now called home. As Dr. Reeves approached, her eyes wide with excitement and curiosity, Justin and Xena shared a silent thought. Their journey of discovery was far from finished. In fact, it had only just begun. As the shuttle touched down on the transformed island, Justin and Xena slowly separated their partially merged forms, their skin patterns shifting and realigning. Dr. Reeves and Lyra approached, their eyes wide with wonder at the lush landscape that had sprung up around them. "This is incredible," Dr. Reeves breathed, her gaze sweeping over the vibrant flora and newly formed coral reefs. "We have so much to show you," Xena said, her voice resonating with excitement. Over the next few days, Justin and Xena worked closely with the research team, demonstrating their newfound abilities and sharing their discoveries about the crystalline structures. As they delved deeper into their connection with Zephyria, they felt an inexplicable pull towards the other islands in the archipelago. "There's something out there," Justin said one evening, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "Something we need to see." Xena nodded, feeling the same urge through their shared consciousness. "We should go. There's more to learn." After briefing the research team on their plans, Justin and Xena set out across the archipelago. As they approached a cluster of smaller islands, they noticed unusual energy fluctuations in the surrounding area. Their hybrid bodies tingled with anticipation. Landing on the first island, they were immediately struck by the unique ecosystem before them. Massive root systems crisscrossed the island's surface, pulsing with energy that resonated with their own biomechanical makeup. "These roots," Xena marveled, kneeling to examine them closer. "They're channeling energy like the crystals we encountered before." Justin nodded, his skin patterns shifting in response to the energy flowing around them. "Let's see if we can interface with them." As they reached out to connect with the root network, a sudden surge of power coursed through their bodies. The vegetation around them exploded into rapid growth, new hybrid species sprouting and maturing within minutes. "Incredible!" Justin gasped, watching as a tree unfurled its leaves and stretched towards the sky. Their amazement was interrupted by the sound of wings. Looking up, they saw a flock of iridescent, multi-winged creatures descending upon the island. The avian beings circled overhead, their feathers shimmering with otherworldly hues. "I've never seen anything like them," Xena whispered, her voice filled with awe. As they observed the creatures feeding on the energy channeled through the root systems, Justin and Xena exchanged a look of understanding. This discovery could have significant implications for Zephyria's ecosystem. "We need to set up a research outpost here," Justin said, his mind already racing with possibilities. Together, they used their molecular manipulation abilities to construct a series of biomechanical shelters that blended seamlessly with the environment. As they worked, their bodies began to emit a soft bioluminescent glow, pulsing in sync with the energy flowing through the island. Their glow attracted the attention of the avian creatures. One particularly bold individual landed near them, its feathers shifting colors as it emitted a series of melodic trills. "It's trying to communicate," Xena realized, her eyes wide with excitement. Drawing on their experiences with interspecies communication, Justin and Xena attempted to establish a basic understanding with the creature. They were just beginning to make progress when the familiar hum of an Earth-Athorian research vessel filled the air. As Dr. Reeves and Lyra disembarked with their team, Justin and Xena greeted them, eager to share their latest discoveries. "You won't believe what we've found," Justin began, gesturing to the pulsing root network and the circling avian creatures. Over the next few days, they worked alongside the research team, documenting the island's unique properties and experimenting with their ability to influence the ecosystem. During one particularly intense session, Justin and Xena attempted to create a localized pocket of accelerated time. Concentrating their combined power, they isolated a small area of the island and compressed years of ecological development into mere hours. The results were fascinating, providing valuable data on the long-term effects of their terraforming efforts. However, the intense manipulation of energy took its toll. As they concluded the experiment, Justin and Xena felt a sudden loss of control over their abilities. The island's energy field began to fluctuate wildly, triggering a chain reaction across the archipelago. "We need to stabilize it," Xena called out, her voice strained as she fought to regain control. Dr. Reeves and Lyra sprang into action, quickly implementing emergency protocols. They deployed a combination of Earth-Athorian and Vexstar technology to create an energy-dampening field around the island. As the situation gradually stabilized, Justin and Xena exchanged a somber look. Their growing powers came with increased responsibility, and they needed to learn how to manage them effectively. "We need to understand our limits," Justin said, his voice resolute. Dr. Reeves nodded, already formulating a plan. "We'll set up a specialized testing facility here on the island. It'll be equipped with advanced monitoring systems and safety measures." As the research team busied themselves with the preparations, Justin and Xena stood at the edge of the island, looking out over the transformed landscape. The avian creatures perched on nearby trees, their feathers shimmering with anticipation. "Are you ready for this?" Xena asked, her hand finding Justin's. He squeezed her hand in response, their shared thoughts conveying a mix of excitement and apprehension. "As ready as we'll ever be." Together, they turned and walked towards the newly constructed testing facility, prepared to push the limits of their hybrid physiology and their connection to Zephyria. The outcome of these tests would undoubtedly shape the future of their new home and its diverse inhabitants. As they stepped into the facility, the doors sealed behind them with a soft hiss. The avian creatures outside trilled a melodic song, as if wishing them luck. Inside, an array of advanced equipment hummed to life, ready to measure and analyze every aspect of their unique abilities. The facility hummed with energy, a testament to the advanced technology at work. As the doors sealed behind them, Justin and Xena exchanged a nervous glance. Dr. Reeves approached, tablet in hand, her eyes gleaming with scientific curiosity. "We'll start with something simple," she said, guiding them to a circular chamber at the center of the facility. "Let's see how you interact with the island's energy field." Justin and Xena took their positions, Standing back to back in the middle of the room, sensors embedded in the walls flickered to life, tracking their every movement. "Whenever you're ready," Dr. Reeves called from behind a transparent barrier. Taking a deep breath, Justin reached out with his mind, feeling for the familiar pulse of Zephyria's energy. Beside him, Xena did the same. As they connected with the planet's life force, their bodies began to emit a soft, pulsating glow. "Remarkable," Lyra murmured, her fingers flying across a control panel. "The energy output is off the charts." As Justin and Xena deepened their connection, something unexpected happened. The air around them shimmered, and suddenly, a small rock from a nearby table began to float. "Are you seeing this?" Justin asked, his voice tight with concentration. Xena nodded, her eyes wide. "We're creating a gravitational field." Dr. Reeves leaned forward, her excitement palpable. "Can you control it? Try to manipulate the field strength." Focusing their combined will, Justin and Xena managed to lift several more objects, varying their height and speed. As they worked, their bodies began to shift, their skin patterns swirling and merging where they touched. "The molecular bonding is intensifying," Lyra reported, her voice filled with awe. "It's amplifying their abilities exponentially." As the couple's power grew, so did its effects on their surroundings. The facility's walls creaked and groaned as the localized gravitational field expanded. Outside, the massive root systems that crisscrossed the island began to pulse with renewed energy. Alarms blared as the root network started to grow at an accelerated rate, extending beyond the island's shores. "We need to stabilize it," Dr. Reeves shouted over the din. "Justin, Xena, can you create an energy barrier around the island?" Working in perfect synchronization, the hybrid couple extended their awareness outward. They visualized a shimmering dome of energy encasing the island, channeling the excess growth into controlled areas. As they worked, a flock of the iridescent avian creatures descended upon the facility, drawn by the intense energy signatures. Their feathers shifted and changed, mirroring the pulsating patterns of Justin and Xena's skin. Hours passed as the research team worked tirelessly to document and analyze the couple's expanding abilities. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the transformed landscape, a new arrival caught everyone's attention. Captain Thorne's shuttle touched down on a newly formed landing pad, its engines whining as they powered down. The captain emerged, followed by a group of Earth-Athorian and Vexstar diplomats. "I hear you've made quite the breakthrough," Thorne said, his eyes scanning the changed environment. Before anyone could respond, Justin and Xena gasped in unison. The air around them shimmered, and suddenly, a small patch of vegetation near their feet began to grow at an incredible speed. Within seconds, a full-grown tree stood before them, its leaves unfurling in fast motion. "What just happened?" one of the Vexstar diplomats asked, his voice a mix of fear and fascination. Dr. Reeves stepped forward, her face flushed with excitement. "They've created a localized time dilation field. We're observing accelerated growth in real time." As the implications of this new ability sank in, Captain Thorne's expression grew serious. "This changes everything. We need to establish a permanent research and training center here. The potential applications for terraforming are enormous." While the diplomats and scientists discussed the logistics of the new center, Justin and Xena found themselves drawn to the edge of the island. Standing on a newly formed cliff, they looked out over the archipelago, marveling at the changes they had wrought. Suddenly, the air around them crackled with energy. Storm clouds gathered on the horizon, swirling in patterns that mirrored the couple's synchronized heartbeats. "Are we doing that?" Xena whispered, her voice filled with wonder. Justin nodded, feeling the connection between their bodies and the planet's weather systems. "I think we are." As they watched, localized climate changes swept across the islands. Tropical rainstorms gave way to gentle snowfall, creating a patchwork of diverse ecosystems. The sound of an approaching shuttle drew their attention skyward. A sleek, unfamiliar craft descended from the upper atmosphere, its design clearly not of Earth-Athorian or Vexstar origin. Galactic Council observers. Captain Thorne's voice came from behind them. They've been monitoring our progress from orbit. Your latest display caught their attention. As the Council shuttle prepared to land, Justin and Xena turned to face the assembled group of scientists, diplomats, and now, interstellar observers. Their bodies shimmered with barely suppressed energy, a physical manifestation of their deepening connection to each other and to Zephyria. The arrival of the Galactic Council promised new challenges and opportunities. But for Justin and Xena, it was clear that their journey of discovery and transformation was just getting started. With 3 more stages of evolution yet to unfold, they stood ready to face whatever the future might bring, their bond stronger than ever. Their bond stronger than ever. As the Galactic Council shuttle touched down, Justin and Xena felt a mixture of anticipation and trepidation coursing through their bodies. The sleek vessel's doors slid open, revealing a diverse group of alien dignitaries. Their forms ranged from towering, crystalline beings to small, gelatinous creatures floating in personal containment fields. At the forefront stood a humanoid figure with iridescent skin and multifaceted eyes. "Greetings," the lead alien said, its voice resonating with harmonic overtones. "I am Ambassador HFY of the Galactic Council. We've come to assess the unique situation on Zephyria." Captain Thorne stepped forward, extending a hand in welcome. "We're honored by your presence, Ambassador. I'm Captain Thorne, and these are Justin and Xena, the individuals responsible for much of Zephyria's transformation." HFY's eyes flickered with interest as they focused on the hybrid couple. "Indeed, your abilities have caused quite a stir among our members. We'd like to observe some demonstrations, if you're willing." Justin and Xena exchanged a glance, their skin patterns swirling in sync. "Of course," Justin replied. "We'd be happy to show you what we've learned." Over the next few days, the couple participated in a series of controlled experiments under the watchful eyes of both the research team and the Galactic Council observers. They manipulated weather patterns, accelerated plant growth, and showcased their ability to create localized gravitational fields. During one particularly intense demonstration, Justin and Xena attempted to create a miniature ecosystem within a contained area. As they focused their combined energies, the air around them began to crackle with power. "Something's not right," Xena whispered, her voice tight with concentration. Before anyone could react, a massive surge of energy erupted from the couple, washing over the island in a blinding wave of light. When the glow subsided, the landscape had transformed dramatically. The island's flora had mutated, taking on biomechanical properties. Massive trees now sported metallic veins pulsing with energy, while flowers bloomed with crystalline petals. The avian creatures that had been circling overhead landed on these new structures, their feathers shifting to match the iridescent hues of the plants. "Fascinating," Dr. Reeves breathed, her eyes wide as she took in the changes. "The surge has created a symbiotic relationship between the plants and the native fauna." Ambassador HFY stepped forward, its multifaceted eyes gleaming. "This is beyond anything we anticipated. The potential applications for ecosystem design are revolutionary." Encouraged by the positive response, Justin and Xena began experimenting with creating specialized habitats. They used their abilities to manipulate matter and energy, constructing intricate living structures that seamlessly blended organic and technological elements. One such creation was a towering spire that served as a nesting ground for the avian creatures. Its outer shell was composed of a malleable, plant-based material that could adapt to changing weather conditions, while the interior housed a complex network of biomechanical systems that regulated temperature and air quality. As news of their success spread, Captain Thorne approached the couple with an ambitious proposal. We want to expand these efforts planet-wide, he explained, showing them a holographic map of Zephyria. Your abilities could transform our entire world into a thriving ecosystem. Justin and Xena agreed, but as they prepared for this massive undertaking, they encountered a new challenge. Their deepening bond now generated visible energy fields that interfered with standard equipment and made it difficult to control their powers during intimate moments. Dr. Reeves and Lyra, working alongside Vexdar scientists, developed a solution, a specialized containment suit made of advanced nanomaterials. The sleek, form-fitting garments helped regulate the couple's energy emissions while allowing full use of their abilities. How does it feel? Lyra asked as Justin and Xena donned the suits for the first time. Xena flexed her hands, watching as the suit's surface rippled in response. It's like a second skin. I can feel the energy flowing, but it's contained. With their new equipment, Justin and Xena embarked on their planet-wide terraforming mission. They traveled to Zephyria's harshest environments, using their powers to jumpstart ecosystem development. In the vast desert regions, they created oases by tapping into underground water sources and accelerating the growth of drought-resistant vegetation. Along volatile tectonic zones, they stabilized the Earth's crust by manipulating the flow of geothermal energy. In areas with toxic atmospheres, they introduced specially engineered plants that rapidly converted harmful gases into breathable air. As Zephyria's transformation accelerated, the planet began attracting attention from other spacefaring civilizations. Ships from various alien races arrived in orbit, their crews eager to witness the unprecedented changes taking place on the surface. Captain Thorne found himself facing new diplomatic challenges as he worked to manage the influx of interstellar visitors. We need a way to accommodate all these different species, he mused during a meeting with Justin and Xena. The couple exchanged a look, their skin patterns swirling with excitement. What if we created specialized habitation zones? Justin suggested. We could tailor each area to the needs of a specific race. With approval from the colony leadership, Justin and Xena set to work. They used their enhanced abilities to rapidly construct a series of unique environments across Zephyria's surface. For a race of amphibious aliens, they created a sprawling network of interconnected lagoons and underwater caves. For visitors adapted to low-gravity environments, they engineered floating cities suspended in the upper atmosphere. As they worked, the couple noticed an unexpected development. The energy grid they had created across the planet began showing signs of responsiveness to the emotions and intentions of Zephyria's inhabitants. Plants would bloom in response to feelings of joy, while the weather would shift to match the collective mood of a region. It's as if the planet itself is becoming sentient, Xena observed, her voice filled with awe and a hint of concern. Recognizing the complex ethical implications of their work, Captain Thorne reached out to Earth for guidance. We need experts to help us navigate these uncharted waters, he explained to Justin and Xena. I requested a team of ethicists, xenobiologists, and diplomats to assist us. As they awaited the arrival of the Earth delegation, Justin and Xena continued their work, acutely aware of the growing responsibilities resting on their shoulders. The once barren world of Zephyria had become a vibrant interstellar community, and they stood at its center, their unique bond shaping the future of not just their adopted home, but potentially the entire galaxy. With 2 more stages of their journey yet to unfold, the couple knew that greater challenges and discoveries lay ahead. As they looked out over the transformed landscape of Zephyria, teeming with life from across the stars, they felt a mixture of pride, excitement, and trepidation for what was to come. Come. As they turned their attention back to the transformed landscape of Zephyria, a sudden tremor shook the ground beneath their feet. Justin's eyes widened as he scanned the horizon. Xena, do you feel that? She nodded, her skin patterns shifting to reflect her concern. It's coming from the northern hemisphere. Something's not right. Without hesitation, they alerted Captain Thorne and the research team. Within minutes, satellite imagery confirmed their fears. A massive volcano in the northern region had suddenly become active, threatening to undo months of careful terraforming work. "We need to get there now," Justin said, his voice tight with urgency. Dr. Reeves approached them, holding two sleek, newly upgraded containment suits. "You'll need these. The volcano's emissions are off the charts." As Justin and Xena donned the suits, they felt the familiar sensation of the nanomaterials adapting to their hybrid physiology. The suits hummed with energy, ready to withstand the extreme conditions they were about to face. A high-speed shuttle whisked them to the site of the eruption. As they approached, the sky darkened with ash and smoke. Rivers of molten lava carved fiery paths down the volcano's slopes, threatening the fragile ecosystems they had worked so hard to establish. Landing at a safe distance, Justin and Xena stepped out onto the scorched earth. The heat was intense, but their suits held firm, allowing them to push forward. "Look there!" Xena pointed to a strange shimmer in the air near the volcano's base. As they moved closer, the shimmer persevered into a faint outline of a structure. Justin reached out, his hand passing through what appeared to be a holographic camouflage field. "It's a facility," he said, his voice filled with surprise. "Vexstar design, if I'm not mistaken." Xena's eyes narrowed as she studied the hidden structure. But why here? And why is it active now? Before they could investigate further, a particularly violent tremor shook the ground. Lava began to spew from new fissures, threatening to engulf the surrounding area. "We need to contain this now," Justin said, his body already beginning to glow with energy. Xena nodded, linking her hand with his. Together, they focused their abilities, creating a network of energy channels that began to redirect the lava flow away from the most vulnerable areas. As they worked, Captain Thorne's voice crackled through their communication system. "We've made contact with the Vexstar leadership. There's an emergency meeting being convened with the Galactic Council representatives. Can you buy us some time?" "We're on it," Xena replied, her concentration never wavering from the task at hand. For hours, Justin and Xena labored to control the volcanic activity. Their enhanced abilities, amplified by their containment suits, allowed them to manipulate the very fabric of the Earth. They created barriers of cooled rock, diverted underground magma flows, and even managed to reduce the volcano's internal pressure. As the immediate danger subsided, they turned their attention to the hidden Vexstar facility. Using their abilities, they carefully peeled back layers of holographic shielding to reveal a complex of sleek, metallic structures. "It looks like some kind of terraforming technology," Justin observed as they cautiously entered the facility. Xena ran her hand along a control panel, her hybrid physiology allowing her to interface with the alien technology. "It's incredibly advanced, but it's not compatible with our organic methods. That's what caused the eruption." Before they could investigate further, Captain Thorne's voice came through again. "We've reached an agreement. The Vexstar have agreed to integrate their technology with our terraforming efforts, but it's going to require your direct involvement." Justin and Xena exchanged a look, their skin patterns swirling with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "What do we need to do?" Justin asked. "You'll need to interface directly with the facility's central core," Dr. Reeves explained, joining the conversation. "Your hybrid physiology should allow you to bridge the gap between the organic and synthetic systems." Guided by the Vexstar scientists, Justin and Xena made their way to the heart of the facility. The central core pulsed with an otherworldly energy, its surface covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "Are you ready?" Xena asked, squeezing Justin's hand. He nodded, and together they reached out to touch the core. The moment their hands made contact, a surge of energy and information flooded through them. Their bodies began to change, incorporating elements of the advanced Vexstar technology into their hybrid physiology. Justin gasped as he felt his awareness expand. He could sense the flow of energy through the planet's crust, the intricate dance of subatomic particles that made up everything around them. Xena's eyes widened as new understanding blossomed in her mind. "We can control it all," she whispered, "down to the very atoms." With their newfound abilities, they began the delicate process of integrating the Vexstar technology into Zephyria's ecosystem. They worked in perfect harmony, their enhanced connection allowing them to manipulate matter and energy on a scale they had never before imagined. As they worked, the volcano's activity began to subside. The lava cooled and hardened, forming new landforms that seamlessly blended with the surrounding terrain. Plants began to sprout from the newly formed earth, their growth accelerated by the combined organic and synthetic terraforming methods. Hours passed like minutes as Justin and Xena reshaped the northern hemisphere. When they finally stepped back from the core, they were exhausted but exhilarated. "Look," Justin said, pointing to a monitor showing a view of Zephyria from orbit. The planet was transforming before their eyes. Deserts bloomed into lush forests, oceans teemed with new life, and the atmosphere shimmered with a healthy, vibrant glow. As they marveled at their work, a notification flashed on the screen. A new ship had entered Zephyrian orbit, its design unlike anything they had seen before. Captain Thorne's voice came through once more. "We've just received a transmission. It's a scout ship from a race called the Quarren. They're requesting permission to observe our work." Justin and Xena shared a look of excitement and curiosity. As they prepared to return to the colony to meet these new visitors, they knew that their journey was just the beginning. The transformation of Zephyria was accelerating beyond their wildest dreams, and with it, the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. The couple's attention was drawn to a notification on their wrist-mounted displays. "Captain Thorne is requesting our presence," Justin said, studying the message. "It seems our new visitors, the Quarren, have some intriguing proposals for further planetary development." As they prepared to depart, Xena paused, her brow furrowing. "Wait, Justin, do you feel that?" He concentrated, allowing his enhanced senses to expand. A faint vibration thrummed through the ground, barely perceptible but undeniably present. "Yes, it's different from the geological activity we've been monitoring." "We should investigate before heading back," Xena suggested, her skin patterns swirling with curiosity. They set off in their high-speed shuttle, following the mysterious vibrations to a remote valley in Zephyria's southern hemisphere. As they descended, the couple gasped in awe at the sight below. The valley floor was alive with movement, filled with a vast array of silicon-based life forms. Crystalline structures of various shapes and sizes glittered in the alien sunlight, while pulsating, amorphous beings flowed across the landscape like living mercury. "Incredible," Justin breathed as they landed. "We knew Zephyria had indigenous life, but nothing like this." Their containment suits automatically adjusted to the unique atmospheric conditions as they stepped out. The silicon beings seemed to react to their presence, forming a loose circle around them. Xena reached out with her mind, attempting to establish communication. The vibrations intensified, resonating through her body. "They're trying to tell us something," she said, her voice tight with concentration. Justin joined her, linking their abilities. Slowly, fragments of meaning began to coalesce in their minds. The silicon life forms were expressing concern, fear, and confusion about the rapid changes to their world. "They've been here all along," Justin realized. "Our terraforming efforts are disrupting their entire ecosystem." As they struggled to convey their understanding and reassurance to the silicon beings, a sudden surge of energy coursed through them. Justin and Xena found themselves connected to Zephyria in a way they'd never experienced before. Images and sensations flooded their consciousness. They saw the planet's core, pulsing with an ancient, living energy. They felt the slow growth of continents, the birth of oceans, the emergence of countless life forms over billions of years. "Xena," Justin gasped, his knees going weak. "The planet. It's alive, sentient." She nodded, overwhelmed by the revelation. We've been so focused on reshaping Zephyria to our needs, we never stopped to consider that it might have a will of its own. The gravity of their actions greatly troubled upon them. Their well-intentioned efforts to create a new home for humanity and other species have been altering the natural course of an entire living world. We need to stop, Xena said firmly. We can't continue like this, not without considering Zephyria's own path. Justin agreed, already reaching for his communicator. Captain Thorne, we need to convene an emergency summit. All species, all representatives. This changes everything. Within hours, the newly constructed cultural center was abuzz with activity. Humans, Ithorians, Vexstar, and Quarren delegates gathered alongside representatives from the silicon-based life forms. Justin and Xena stood at the center, their hybrid physiology allowing them to act as intermediaries between the diverse groups. We've discovered that Zephyria is a living, sentient entity, Justin announced, his voice carrying across the chamber. Our terraforming efforts, while well-intentioned, have been disrupting its natural evolution. A murmur of shock and disbelief rippled through the assembly. Xena stepped forward, her skin patterns projecting calming waves. We propose a new approach, one that respects Zephyria's consciousness while still allowing for our continued presence here. Over the next several days, the summit worked tirelessly to develop a harmonious plan. The solution that emerged was radical, a symbiotic relationship between the planet and its inhabitants, with Justin and Xena serving as conduits for communication and energy distribution. To implement this new paradigm, the couple knew they would need to undergo one final transformation. A chamber was prepared, filled with a mixture of organic compounds and silicon-based materials that shimmered with an otherworldly light. As they stood before the chamber, Justin turned to Xena. Are you ready for this? There's no going back. She took his hand, her eyes shining with tenacity. We've come this far together. Whatever comes next, we face it as one. They stepped into the chamber, the substance enveloping them. As their bodies began to merge with the mixture, Justin and Xena embraced, their forms shifting and blending. Pain and ecstasy coursed through them as their very essence was reshaped at the molecular level. When the process was complete, they emerged as something entirely new. Their bodies shimmered with an iridescent glow, constantly shifting between solid, liquid, and energy states. They could feel the pulse of Zephyria itself, along with the life force of every being on the planet. Without a word, they knew what needed to be done. Hand in hand, Justin and Xena set out across Zephyria, their new forms adapting effortlessly to every environment they encountered. At key points around the globe, they established energy nodes, creating a network that would allow for balanced resource distribution and ecosystem management. As they worked, they could feel the planet responding. Deserts bloomed with silicon flowers, oceans teemed with hybrid life forms, and the very air hummed with a new vitality. The transformation was breathtaking, a living tapestry of diverse ecosystems that seamlessly blended the natural and the constructed. Word of Zephyria's unprecedented evolution spread quickly across the galaxy. The Galactic Council recognized the planet as a model for interstellar cooperation and sustainable development. Soon, delegations from countless alien civilizations began arriving, eager to study and participate in this unique symbiotic society. As the harmonization process neared completion, Justin and Xena found themselves drawn to Zephyria's upper atmosphere. Their transformed bodies adapted effortlessly to the changing conditions as they ascended, allowing them to look down upon the world they had helped reshape. The planet below was a swirling masterpiece of color and life. Massive biomechanical structures rose from the landscape, providing habitats for various species while serving as conduits for the planet's energy. The once barren world now pulsed with vitality, a testament to the power of cooperation and understanding. Justin and Xena exchanged a glance, their bodies shimmering with the combined energy of countless life forms. They had come so far from their early days as isolated colonists, yet their journey was just the beginning. As guardians of this living world, they knew that new challenges and discoveries awaited them. With a shared thought, they began their descent back to the surface, ready to guide Zephyria and its inhabitants into a future bright with possibility.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.